All right. I want to thank you all so much for joining us this evening for some more D&D online head gaming. Tonight's game is Song of Rapture, as DM'd by the wonderful Omen. And I want to give a quick shout out to our wonderful sponsors, Arts and Coffee, who through their support and promotion support the channel. You can check them out at artsandcoffee.com and use promo code LION10 to get yourself a sweet discount and help support the channel and get some really tasty coffee. Other than that, let's get right into it. Let's roll some dice. Let's see what's going to happen tonight on Song of Rapture. Monsieur Omen, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, let's see. The last time we left the Valiant 7, the sun was setting on a rather, gruesome battlefield strewn with the bodies of both men being buried, and those of large half-man and half-horse creatures. There was heartbreak, tension, and maybe even a sense of betrayal among the Valiant 7, but there was a glimmer of hope to be held. But that is not my story to tell. Who wants to tell me what happened last time on A Song of Rapture?
I got you, fam.
I had the wrong notes open.
Oh wait, there's like sound. Let me also enable that. Alright, let's see. What happened last time on Song of Rapture? Where are my notes?
Going once?
There we go, there's the music too. Sweet. Alright.
What? Oh.
So, where did we leave the Valiant 7? Well, they had been informed the situation with the Centaurs near Broken Ridge had only gotten worse in the time they spent battling the Grey-Bitten Scourge. Now Lady Blackburn was offering 5,000 gold for them to deal with the problem permanently. In spite of the awful news Samantha received of her kingdom falling into disarray and the rest of her family moving into the next life, she managed to pull herself together enough to ride out with the group up north. A near silent and grim 4 days later, the Valiant 7 came upon a barbaric scene. Centaurs rode through a road construction camp, cutting down builders and guards like a thresher through chaff. Persephone, distraught, tried to slow their progress and provide paths for the civilians to escape, while the Valiant 7 tried to stop the Centaurs by a mixture of force and intimidation. It did not work, however, and they were forced to lay waste to the forces that attacked the road crew. It was with a heavy and serious tone that the group discussed what the situation was with the captain of the guard and amongst themselves. The discussion was shaky at first, before becoming rather heated between Gregory and Persephone. She was notably tired of being treated like a kid, and treated like her stance on things didn't matter. They eventually came to an uneasy agreement to still try and salvage human and Zephyrtune relations, with some contingencies based on their captives' treatment. With that, Gregory worked with the civilians to bury their dead, and Javen pulled Persephone aside. Unbeknownst to the group, he'd knocked out one of their centaurs, and with her magic, Persephone resuscitated him. A mixture of shock and anger came over him as Persephone tried to assuage his worries. Speaking in Sylvan, there was a tense exchange that culminated in a vow to speak with the tribe in good faith and without bearing weapons through their lands. The centaur would depart through the night, leaving tracks for the Valiant 7 to follow, so that they could do what they do best: solve the problem, by whatever means they could. Hopefully, they'll remember this adventure fondly.
Well done. Give yourself some DM inspiration.
I already have it.
Then roll yourself a D100. As indeed, we return to the site as the sun begins to set and, well, a repair to the camp is made to this road building camp. As the dead are being buried, finally the sun is setting and night is coming on this gruesome scene.
God, I'm consulting my calendar. Is it Saturday, August? Oh fuck, I lost the day. What day is it?
Let's see.
I got Saturday, August 18th.
Calendar. 18th. Let me double check real quick.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. D&D, you need to know what date it is in your imaginary world.
Yes, you do. I keep a journal, thank you very much.
Saturday on the 18th.
Okay.
Well done. All right.
We've met with Captain Martoon.
Mm-hmm. A captain who, well, it sounds like within not too recent, maybe within the last couple of months, time, has been sent down along with some hired hands to help aid the guards in fending off the centaurs. Although, with the last display, seems like their forces can only do so much against, well, the natural might of the centaurs and the magic they seem to hold. As let's see. I'll do a little bit of ambiance real quick. As darkness.
Ah!
As night has come.
Oh, wow, I can see.
Yeah, because some of you can see well in the dark. Let's do this. Haha.
Brandon, what's the shield for?
What's the shield for? What?
Clyde, when you last ended battle, you were moving around quite quickly across the battlefield, at least in one spot, using your speed to help your defenses as you were being attacked by a centaur who stuck a pike in your side.
What an asshole.
Oh, I accidentally drug my graves with me. Well,
Yeah. As
couldn't see.
As Persephone and Javen were tending to their affairs, you could see Captain Martum and some of his men finally settling down. Some of them helped you, Gregory and Clyde, bury the dead over behind one of the small camps. But now you can see many of them beginning to sit themselves upon, looks like these makeshift seats out of, well, it looks like they're made from trees, long and thick logs, but the trees here are far and few. They probably were dragged from somewhere else, as they seem to be finally resting after their ordeal. If you all wish to stay the night here, that is fine. It is the least we can do for you for, well, saving many of our lives.
It's probably for the best, but I know y'all said that they just sort of come and go, but y'all don't have any inkling in the north where they really came from?
There have been parties sent out to scout. It'd be easier to deal with this problem if we knew where they stemmed from. However, the nature of centaurs in Mobia, even to my loose knowledge, is that they do not settle for long. They often pick up the camps and move them wherever the wind takes them. We found remnants of the camps, just simple stakes and hoof prints in large patches of dirt and grass, but they are ever evasive. When they do not want to be found, well, I'm sure you've seen it. The earth remains unfazed and unchanged.
Yeah, I reckon so. And Clyde, yeah, they ran off, and I didn't see no tracks myself, but maybe we could try in the morning when there's light. See if we can find something where they ran off to.
I mean, we're bound to find something in the morning.
Yeah. Well, ain't no sense wandering around the dark.
Wait, where's Persephone?
Persephone's in the process of trying to. Well, now that Javen had brought it up to her, it would be nice if the centaurs had a proper burial. But she doesn't think Gregory would be too happy if she buried him next to the fallen soldier. So she's going to try to drag him back towards the breathing centaur. A little help of her thorn whip arm.
Yeah, fortunately these things are super heavy and you are not particularly strong, but the gift from Tuchikawa allows you to whip out your long viney arm. It doesn't even seem like the whip's coming from your arm. It looks like your hand just for a moment transforms into this spindling vine that grasps out at the body and then just with magical force woof, pulls it back to you. Although it's somewhat of a strange looking effort. You're not simply dragging this thing by a vine. It's like whipping and pulling and giving yourself distance and whipping and pulling. piece by piece, almost pulling it on top of you at one point.
Wait, Persephone, what are you doing?
Well, Gregory went to give the soldiers a proper burial, and then Javen suggested that we could do the same for the centaurs, and I figured I might as well do it because I can't convince Gregory to do it.
Oh,
Somebody should.
If Persephone's doing that, then Draven would help too.
Yes. This is your idea, Javen.
No, we got it, Claude.
That sounds like manual labor.
As you drag across this patch of, it looks like now that some of the plants have been burned away, thanks to the effort of Luna realizing that her flames are quite potent, and the grass that once rose up from these hills and grasped at everyone's feet, slowing their movement tremendously. A lot of it has been scorched away, leaving only just small patches of green amidst this gray and black.
Hell.
I think round here should be good.
I get up from my seating position, walk over to Nero and grab his mane. Alright, damn it. I'm gonna bring him over and start to lash him up with one of these other corpses. Start hauling him over as well.
Persephone, that's a good start, but I think it needs to be a little bit wider.
So let's see, Persephone, Javen, and Clyde, you're all digging graves for this guy? Big old long grave for the horse?
Persephone wants to move the corpses, like, in the area, and then she was gonna...
I was planning on using my magic to build the graves, but I think it would be easier if we gather all of the fallen together first.
Sure. As that's all you guys are doing, it'll take a little bit of time. Your whip arm allows you to expedite this tremendously, but it's still a bit, haggling. It takes about 5 minutes to actually get all of them aligned, with Gregory helping too, dragging them behind his horse on a rope. Seems like a little easier. It's his horse dragging a horse, and seems like Nero is actually quite strong. Uh-oh.
Oh, he did.
What happened?
What?
What happened?
What happened to Nero? He gone.
What? He's
No,
right there.
I see him.
Oh, I don't see him. Gone.
He's right here.
He's right there.
Oh, okay.
Nero
That
has
was
been
weird.
hidden from God.
No, here he is. He ran off the map for a second, apparently. Okay, so after some time, you're able to drag some of these corpses away from the middle of the camp. A lot of the guards and even the civilians give you a very odd eye as you're not being very quiet about this. Not that the job could be quiet, of course. But with what you do, you catch everyone's attention, and you do get sort of a sideways glance. Some of them more obviously in disapproval or confusion than the others. But they don't stop you. Samantha, what are you up to?
I'm just having a bit of time to myself, just drinking and contemplation. Yes, I am presented with a very interesting situation with these centaurs, and she's just spending a bit of time trying to think about how, well, like everything else, how they could be useful. And enjoying this fucking infinite realm, because oh my god.
Okay. And Luna, are you simply just kicking it back with these somewhat scraggly looking soldiers? Clearly, from their straps they're not wearing fully nice suits of armor. They look like they're wearing leathers with patches of steel plating on their shoulders and on parts of their breasts. As you see, they look like just sort of we'd expect of soldiers for hire, men who simply take what they need and fight only for coin.
Yeah, I'm just kind of chilling. I would go help them, but that's work.
Understandably. Okay, so after about 5-10 minutes, you eventually drag all the centaurs and these sort of align together as you're building yourself digging a big old grave. How you doing that?
I'm going to be using my mold earth
Sure.
cantrip.
Don't they have shovels?
There's lots of
But
shovels.
this is faster. Yeah, but this is faster.
It really is, Javen. She knows how to move the earth really quick like that.
Yeah, but if she works on one side, I can work on the other, and we can meet in the middle.
I mean, she'd probably finish the entire thing in less than 3 minutes.
But if you want to go ask the workers for a spare spade, I'm sure there's plenty around.
I don't think there are going to be any spares at night when they're all resting, Persephone.
There's some of about where you buried the fellas. As I start digging on the far end.
Sure. Let's see. Okay. As somewhat considerable to what Clyde said, it only takes about like 5 minutes with the work of Persephone's magic lifting up this. Well, having to work the earth a little bit to soften it up first, but then once it's softened enough, loosened between your hands, you can basically pick up this mound and pull it away, making this nice like 5 cubic hole. Although, to fit these centaur, it's going to be a little deeper or a little wider, so it does take you a little longer than what the magic would usually cost you. But after about 5 minutes with Gregory working on one end, Javen helping, and Persephone pulling her cantrip out and essentially guiding most of you guys, she's probably the quickest among you. You do sort of fill this mass. I guess you're going for like a trough in the ground from one side to the other.
Just a big mass grave. We're just gonna.
Well, no, she's trying. No, I mean they're right next to each other, but she's trying to give them the respect of their own burial space.
Gotcha. Okay. So one by one, you make these like 10 by 10, almost perfectly like cubical holes in the ground that, with a bit of force, using your thorn whip a bit gently, you can guide them down into the holes, and yeah, with enough room for them to sort of settle at the bottom and cover them with dirt at the top if you choose.
Yep.
Okay.
First thing we gonna need one more.
I'll take care of that one. I did speak to one of them. I got really close. It's a little more personal.
Wait, why didn't we bring this one over?
I just explained that. I'll explain further in the morning, Clyde. It's getting late. But I'll take care of that one myself.
Alright then.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'll just hang back and watch while she's bearing them up, just to make sure she doesn't get exhausted and pass out in the middle of the night out here. But once I say that looks like everything's buried and done, I'll start heading back to the camp.
All right.
She is gonna, the trinkets that she had taken off of the shaman and his deer hide, she is gonna wrap the trinkets in the deer hide and place it atop his grave. Hopefully, and thinking to herself, hopefully that the other centaur sees it before he goes.
All right.
Are you just gonna hang around here, Clyde? I was gonna go back towards the campsite.
Well, I mean, you're not even gonna say anything. You got to at least give him rights, Persephone.
I don't know exactly what to say. I mean, this entire situation is horrible. And as distressed as they might have been, I guess I just hope that they find peace with the wind. It seems that they like the wind very much. And that's all I can really think for them.
I mean, I don't know all that much. I mean, Father Ship's been helping me a bit. Maybe I could say something.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
Right. Creation is something that the great Lord Sylvanus does each and every day. Not only did he create the men that are trying to build the road, but he also created the centaurs who are trying to defend their home. Oftentimes, his creation clashes, and things happen. But in the end, no matter what, with Sylvanus' creation going back into the ground, new life will bloom from the death that has been here. And in the long run, that creation will bloom. It'll grow, and it'll prosper. So we don't look at these centaurs as just being dead, but being reborn into the creation. I think that's all I got, Persephone. I don't, is that okay?
I think that was fine.
Wait, are you crying? Was it that bad?
Oh, it was great, Clyde.
Oh, it's a good cry, okay. Alright, well, you better go see matey, make sure he's not eating anything stupid.
Clyde, give yourself a D100.
That's hard to do, I don't remember how.
Alrighty. Unless there's anything else you guys want to do, the night will come, the sun will set, darkness will be fully over the land, and it looks like, well, some of these men will be joining you throughout the night. You guys have to be taking some watches, unless you're just going to sleep through the whole thing and trust their eyes.
I am putting some spells in my purple stone, though.
Okay.
Yes.
What are you putting in your purple stone?
Gray's gonna take first watch as he torches a cat.
This is me now.
Oh god, I had the spells. I'm going to do, animal messenger and speak with animals. I'm putting into the stone.
Okay, so are you casting them into the spell?
Yes, I'm casting them into my stone.
Okay. Making sure. Gotcha. As you conjure forth your magic, you can see it and feel it flowing through your hand, about to ready to cast, but as you hold onto the stone, you feel almost like the stone absorb it within, and it, as you connect with it once more, as if you pull out the magic, you feel it there. As this magic has been stored.
Lovely.
Yes.
Okay, so Gregory's taking first watch. What watches are y'all taking, if any at all?
I'll take second watch.
Okay.
Oh, I'll take third.
I'll take last watch.
I'll be with that one.
Where's Samantha?
I also commandeer one of these tents and don't let anybody else in.
Ah, yes, I just take the tent made for multiple people. It's all mine.
Okay. Well, alrighty then. Let's see. Greg's on first.
I mean, there are 4 less people, so.
That is true. They have the ground now. That's their tent. Yeah. So as you get started with your watch, yeah, Luna, at some point you do see a shadow pass in front of the tent itself and try to open it, and you see there's resistance as it's been shut and sealed. But perhaps the person behind it is tired, or maybe they're wounded, not really willing to put up another fight. You just hear a sigh of resignation, and then the shadow moves away, and you're left to your own devices. As many of the men begin to pile on into their own tents. And it seems like of all the people, only Captain Martome and a couple of his men remain, the others seeming to vanish off into their own abodes.
Oh, they did.
Is there anything you want to do on your first watch, Gregory and Samantha?
I've been kind of kicking back on Phobos for a little bit, so I'm going to just kind of lead him somewhere where he can sit down without me on top of him.
Okay.
Well, strike a conversation with these guys, mostly addressing who's obviously the leader.
Sure.
Captain, I ask you some questions.
I suppose. If there's any way I can help you. one of the men starts to give you a very questioning look, but then you can see Captain Martum sort of knock his hand on the log, and then he looks back at him and go ahead, as he sort of steps up and walks sort of away, heading down the path a little bit, just trying to get out of this whole conversation. But the captain sort of slides a bit closer on the log and gives you his attention.
Yeah, just one way or another, we sort of been tasked with trying to fix all this, trying to get people to stop dying on this damn road. But you've been fighting these suckers, right, for a while now?
Yes, at least 2.5 months now, personally. The guards have been facing them since they first began attacking. That's been at least, how long now? 5? Nearly 6 months.
Hell. Like I said, I sort of don't think it's going to be a last little scuffle with these guys. You know what all they're capable of? It's all the fasting, all hell, and some of them seem to have magic. Them plants, that was Persephone's doing, but it looked like some of them just ignored it. They got other magic. I just don't know really what to expect. If there's something they're hiding that we haven't seen, I'd thank you for the information.
It's quite limited what we do know, but from experience, I can give you a forewarning. You may have heard from, whoever you said was it the Blackburn family who hired you?
Yes, sir. Honestly, I didn't actually meet myself. Not for all this. Samantha there, though, you spoke to her, right?
Indeed we did.
Oh, she is often the first, at least her family, is often the first to be informed of these changes. The Zephyrtoon, at least as far as we know, were a singular tribe, full of warriors who, beyond great size, often greater than you'd expect of these half-horsemen, don't truly have any magical capabilities about them. They are brute force. But as time has gone on and as this road project has continued, it seems their tribe has accumulated numbers, those beyond their own tribe. One of them, I do not know their names, but dark of skin and of smaller size. They seem to have a connection to nature. They speak to the plants and the animals as one would expect a hermit from the woods, or perhaps one of the elves of Illyria. But they do so to hamper our forces. Their arrival caught us off guard when they first made their face known. And that brings me to the next point. Something that's been haunting this land since we got here. These creatures are simple. Most centaurs are. They may know tactics of basic war, but they should be no match to those of steel and numbers. And yet, despite our tactics, despite our planning, despite our formations and where we move along this road, they find us. It's almost as if they know what we're doing and when we're doing it. We put up defenses, we tried barricades. It slowed the progress of the road even further, but they found a way around them. I believe they may have eyes on this land. And, I don't know much about magic, but if you stay up longer, you may see them soon. As his eyes seem to look past you, Gregory, around the tent and off into the darkness. Although, you, just like him, the firelight seems to be the only thing that really illuminates what's going on, unless you pull on your goggles.
Nah, I figure the firelight is basically as far out as my goggles going to see anyway. Unless I just wander out in the dark, but Greg doesn't get up. He looks around, expecting to see something.
Besides that, I have heard tale of their chief. A creature by the name of Kogar. They believe he might even have, be it the blood or some facsimile of a giant in him. He stands well over 15 feet in height, and you can hear his hooves with every step. It rumbles like thunder. I may be a strong man, and I may have faced many battles in my youth, but a centaur the size of a giant, that is something I would not wish to face.
You haven't actually seen him yourself, then?
I believe I would probably be dead if I did.
Fair enough. Alright then.
We'll have to be extra careful in our pursuit then in the morning. If these...
She's a soft lady.
Speak up, Samantha, I can't hear you.
Yo, speak up, pretty lady, as the man sitting next to you puts a very bold arm next to yours and leans in close, as he seems very enamored by your appearance. What's your name, pretty lady?
Samantha.
Samantha. You know, I didn't get a good look at your face earlier, what with all the magic and manifestations surrounding you.
Hey, that's enough.
Do you really want to see my face?
Well, I'm looking at it right now. Enough! As the man sort of bashes his hand down against the log, and the man jolts back. I'm just making conversation, Captain. Just being friendly.
What's your name, God?
Oh, the name. The name's Brockus. This gives you a wink.
I will remember that.
Oh, look at that. Pretty lady remembering my name.
What I was saying, Gregory, was that we will have to be careful in our pursuit of the centaurs in the morning, if these eyes of the forest are to be believed.
Yeah, true enough. Gonna be a hell of a time catching these sons of bitches if they ain't shacked up nowhere. They can see us.
Hopefully we can call upon Clyde's gifts to make our approach much quieter and much harder to notice.
May I ask you a question? You said you're here under the Blackburn Initiative. I do wonder. I would say I don't mean to pry, but the conversation was quite audible. Seems there's a divide in your group, your Valiant Seven. What do you intend to do with the centaurs if and when you find them?
Assuming that the possibility remains upon our encountering them, we will attempt to negotiate. If that does not prove fruitful, we will proceed to, eradicate.
Yeah, we don't really want to start a blood feud or nothing, but if it comes down to it, they gotta go one way or the other.
Honestly, as much trouble as they've caused us, and as much men they've killed and taken, I don't truly hate these creatures. But if given the choice, I may believe it would be the best if they were simply killed. It's just that it was hoped that they would move once the fighting began, and, when we believed we'd be victorious in our encounters. But, I believe they have a confidence that may be their undoing if your strength is as true as we've seen. I doubt they'd want to move so easily. There's nothing truly out there for them. If they leave this territory, they encounter the rest of the new frontier and all the dangers within. There's been tale of goblins and other creatures like them beginning to spread throughout the hills. And as small as they are quite a nuisance in numbers. If they move north to Drakova, well, I'm certain the dwarves will take interest, and, well, if they aren't killed, they may be locked up in chains. Lyria, to the west, houses forests far too thick for these plain-bound creatures to have the room to thrive. And of course they have their own centaurs there. I'm sure territories will be disputed. And if they go as far as the King's Land, well, I don't believe they could even survive there. Not with the orcs, the ogres, and whatever dangers lie around that territory. I believe this is the last safe haven they have. To force them to move would be no better than killing them.
Alas, if they do not move, and they do not acquiesce to our demands, then there is but a single option left.
I simply pray it is the merciful one. But I do wish you Valiant 7 victory. If you can manage to find peace in this, so be it. But just know what that may mean for these people. Oh, but the hour is getting late. If my men are awake and they continue to give you trouble, Samantha, you do have my permission to, well, with all mercy intended, correct them. They are not soldiers or trained warriors of Broken Ridge. They are men with, well, eager hands for coin. Just keep those eager hands away from you, I pray.
For their sakes.
Is there anything else you guys want to do? First watch will basically come to an end. Give me perception checks.
I am mostly keeping an eye on Samantha for her conversation and a lot of the. It seems like she's fallen back into her usual self in this weird situation. I'm just making sure, she doesn't just wander off into the darkness.
Rope in hand, noose tied.
Yeah.
There's no tree around.
Yeah, there's no tree around, and that's Clyde's job. Leave it alone.
You just Eldritch Blast the other end of it up forever.
Go ahead and move to the other side.
Ooh, it's still warm.
I will not do that.
I retract my seat stealing.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay.
We are so perceptive, you and I.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I have.
Did you get advantage or some shit on that?
I mean,
no, because my hood is up, and I do not have my babies manifested, which I don't think also gives me advantage anyway. But
it does.
Oh, does it? Well, they're not awake. They're asleep.
They're sleeping. They're sleeping.
Because I have a hard time trying to say like, oh yeah, they're just there, and my hair is just quietly moving.
Sleepy babies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just sort of in thought, just trying to think of some kind of solution to all this, but when it comes down to it, what the hell they expect Greg to do? He just hopes Purse has a plan. If he really wants to save these things, it's gonna take a miracle.
Okay. Yep. Samantha, a bit distracted by your own thoughts, the things you've been dealing with recently, just also pulling your magic away from taking up the captain's offer and teaching someone a lesson. Even though you see the man retreat back to a tent, he doesn't seem to give you any mind at this point, but still, the thought's there. Gregory, you don't really notice much either. You just off in the distance, you just hear the sounds of nature. It's different from being in a forest, something that you're more accustomed to, being out in these plains. You just hear like the sounds of like, I don't know, probably like wolves in the distance. Kind of like a howl. Maybe the occasional sound of a bird, but there's no trees out here really, so no place for them to perch. Other than that, nothing.
After digging graves, fucking Greg is shit tired. He is just trying to stay awake long enough to keep an eye on Samantha and make sure nothing happens. But all his focus is just on trying to stay awake.
Okay. And with that, first watch comes to an end.
You alright, Samantha? I'll go wake up Luna. Just if you want me around, I'll stay up a bit more. Oh hell.
I'll wake Luna. I do not know what state she's sleeping in.
Right, alright. Just let me know if anything happens. I'll just be over here. I reckon.
Of course.
I'll go into the bigger tent where the bodies were splayed out before we buried them. I'll take the dirtiness of it. That's fine.
Sure.
Luna,
Knock, knock, knock on the tent.
it is time for you to
Flap, flap, flap.
awaken.
They have to.
Technically speaking, no, but I would appreciate the company.
As you're inside, Luna, you're waking up, you're trying to get around, you're looking at that tent flap. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you shouldn't. And then the tent flap opens up.
God fucking damn it, Pity. Fine, I'm coming.
Did you open the tent with magic? That seemed a bit superfluous.
No, that was Pity.
Finding having self and try to recall whether I know of this thing by pity. But
Sure.
I'll do what
Remember?
I do. Time.
Yeah, it was Marjorie's. Not necessarily pet, though. We were pretty sure it was her pet at first. Some spirit on the other side.
But maintaining my disguise since there are others still around. But it'll just look like there's like a little bit of a breeze as my hair kind of twitches awake, but tries to stay still for the most part.
Sure. Now, if you're trying to remember Pity, like, you remember, the only thing that really comes to mind is, like, it's not Mitty.
Cat, right?
No, it was like a toy. It was like a little kid's toy that Marjorie named, but it moved around. Some sort of magic inside or something. Alright. Anything you guys want to do on your watch?
I do not know this. Do you drink, Luna?
No, never really got into alcohol. It doesn't taste good, and honestly, being drunk is problematic for me going around being dealt with spirits.
That does make sense. Would you try the rum that I enjoy so much? Just a sip of it.
Preferably not.
Suit yourself. And Samantha just pours herself a bit more into the glass.
I caught a glimpse of the conversation before I drifted off to sleep. What were you guys talking about?
The beginning or the end?
Both?
Gregory seemed to have some concerns as to whether or not these centaurs were going to have magic we were not prepared for, and wanted to get a bit more information on what it is these people have been dealing with. Apparently, the centaur's chief has giant blood in him and is 15 feet tall and sounds like thunder when he steps. Also, they seem to have some sort of perhaps magical way of surveying all the lands. No matter what tricks or strategy these people tried, at every opportunity the centaurs, well, intercepted them. It's almost as if they always knew where they were going to be, no matter what they did to try to obfuscate that. Other than that, one of their guards tried to hit on me. That was funny. And Gregory seems to still be concerned for me, which I guess is nice. But I sent him to sleep, he needs the rest.
He seems to be concerned about you a lot.
Well, you know, he's a good friend, and he's quite, well, more or less devoted to people. I'm sure he would worry about any of us if any of us had just recently lost family or had something happen to them.
I'm sure everything's fine. The letter was probably faked.
If it is at the point that they can fake the code of the Ouroboros, well, then that is beyond problematic, and, well, I'd better find a wonderful nice mountain to go climb and spend the rest of my days on.
Okay, if you want to drop this and we could start heading back, I'm pretty sure the rest wouldn't mind.
All the letter did was confirm to me that I don't have really anything to go with, Luna. Besides you all, which is a great boon to be sure, but there are only, well, 7 of us.
Well, 6. I guess we're counting Mitty still, but...
It's the only way the name works. And I'll remind you, it's my name, so I want it to work. No, I need time and allies. And I do not know what it is Persephone has planned with these centaurs, but what I have seen today tells me that they are decent enough warriors. And, well, all of the adventurers are killing all of the goblins, so that won't pan out well, I don't think.
Are you gonna try and recruit the centaurs? Are you sure that might not happen? They kind of already have a chief. I know you, like, got rid of Meritooth and took their chief, but, the centaurs.
And that they are. And I do not understand their culture. I doubt it is one as simple as keeping what it is you kill. That would be far too easy. But if I can try to provide them an opportunity, one that allows them to continue to exist and, well, maybe even prosper underneath the kingdom of Mobia. For all intents and purposes, I am a Mobian noble. Though of a region that is not, well, very well liked. But if they do not wish to move, they do not wish to take, well, regions for themselves and perhaps actually join civilization, If they do not wish to go down that route, and they are stuck in the old ways, then they will most likely die in the old ways.
I just hope Persephone won't feel too bad if it goes that route.
Who are you and what did you do to Luna?
I hope she has some sort of plan.
Alright, unless there's anything else you guys want to do, give me some perception checks as you're helping keeping watch. Seems like this one's just you two. No one else around the area seems to be awake.
I kill them in their sleep.
Okay.
Oops, just 15.
Okay. Yeah. Similar to before. Sort of enraptured by your conversation. Every once in a while, you'll hear behind you, Luna, the tent flaps just open up, and they shut and open and shut, almost like something just playing with them, having a good time. A little distracting, but beyond that, you're able to hear the sounds of nature, although they seem to be a bit louder. You can actually see above in the darkness with your very acute dark vision. Just every once in a while the dip into the shadows. It looks like a bird or something flying down. And again, you hear like the howling of sounds kind of like a wolf in the distance, but just animals of the prairie. Insects chirping. The grass every once in a while giving way as something small crawls around. Possibly a lizard or something of similar size, but other than that, nothing that really seems to be accosting you guys.
If my feeling of time is correct, well, you can get some more rest if you want, Luna.
Good luck with Clyde.
It's normally pretty easy. He doesn't talk to me much, actually.
So I try to open my tent.
Oh, it doesn't open.
Fucking damn it, pity.
The moment like you pull your hand away and start looking around, maybe there's another tent, opens up again.
It's like a child.
And then shuts behind you. As Clyde, you're awakened by Samantha.
Oh no, Clyde would wake up. He's got a good internal clock.
Oh yeah, you have a good internal compass, good internal clock, good internal thermometer. Just an all-around internal man.
That's true.
As you come to, you see it's still dark out, although there is a slight pigment, a change, a color in the distance as it seems to be getting closer and closer to morning. Although there's still quite a bit of ways to go. What do you guys want to do on your third watch?
Oh, put some more wood on the fire.
Okay. No. You find some sticks from bushes and whatnot, sort of scattered pieces. Not a lot of trees to carve from, as you're usually, as you're used to living so close to a forest. Instead, you sort of have to scrounge around. But there are some logs and some firewood they keep around the place, and it's enough to keep the fire fed.
Do I find a good poking stick?
Yeah. It looks like if you poked a bit too hard, it might snap. It's not the most, not the most sturdy one, but yeah, you could easily give it a little poke if you wanted to use it, like about 3 feet long.
Oh, good. So just kind of lean over the fire and I'll poke it. Have all the little cinders come up.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll look directly at Samantha. Go, Samantha. Should I call you Your Highness?
God damn it, Clyde.
Oh. Oh, no. The correct term is Your Majesty.
Oh. So Your Majesty, eh?
And you need not call me that.
But I mean, that's your title. That's your name, isn't it?
title is something that, in my case, will need to be earned. It is mine to take, but I must take it first.
By yourself?
Oh, now that would be impossible.
So you were once a queen, now you're not a queen, but you want to be a queen again?
I was once a princess.
Oh, so your ma's dead too?
That she is.
Well, I don't know if you know this about me, Samantha, but I've been able to track down people before. Really hard people to find. People that are skewed, that hide in their ways. If you want to, I can track down those that hurt your family.
I did not think you would want to help me, but that will be most useful when the time comes.
Why would you think I'd want to help you? We've been through some shite.
Well, you seem to have a almost a whimsical attachment to an idea of truth that is very hard to maintain, and a distaste for nobles.
It's not that I don't like nobles. They're just a bit of a cunt. And they lie. If I met a noble that didn't lie, I'd like him.
You'd have liked Argos.
You know, I try to always be honest. Always tell the truth. I've learned that it helps in so many ways. And I think that's why Sylvanas has put you here and put me here as well. It's the whole thing about balance.
You think my fate is tied to Sylvanas?
No, but I think he likes a good joke every once in a while.
Don't you fucking joke.
I mean, why else wouldn't he put somebody that's so focused on trying to find the truth and tell the truth? And well, I mean, it's no real secret, Samantha. You like your lies. You like your hidden things. There's nothing wrong with it, though. That's just who you're made to be.
You are not wrong.
Well, if you ever need my help, just fucking ask. You don't have to play some kind of game or come up with some elaborate plan. You need me to kill someone, I'll kill him. As long as it's not a child.
Thank you, Clyde. And if you need my help, well, I will be sure to offer my services at a discounted rate.
I didn't
a-
expect anything.
You see like a genuine smile. You see a genuine smile just kind of spread across Samantha's face, which, with your wisdom, you could probably tell she's joking.
Well, you might give me a discount, but I'll do it for free.
Hmm.
Can I ask you something though, Samantha?
Always. I absolutely love questions. What?
What's with you and Gregory? How come you keep just kind of, pulling him along?
I'm pulling him along.
Well, I mean, it's no secret that the two of you are kind of close in more than one way.
Pulling him It's interesting that you see it that way, Clyde.
It's no hidden thing that Gregory wants to be a good man. He wants to be a hero. I mean, maybe he wants to be your hero.
Well, he has promised me his blade. There seems to be some reservation or hesitation or plain old, well, lack of interest when it comes to the things that you're asking about, Clyde. I know your vision has been occupied with something, well, a bit taller and a little bit wider than yourself, and I'm glad your feet are intact, but
Wow.
Gregory did not seem too inclined to celebrate Argo's Day with me, or dance with me, or, well, let me just say every time I try to step a bit closer, he always seems to step 2 big steps back. And I do not know if that is simply because of who I am. As I say that, you can see just like my face sort of shift in the firelight, half green with scale, half in the disguise before the disguise takes back over. Or if his interests lie elsewhere, or what the case may be, to be honest. But I try not to let it frustrate me.
Well, the way I see it, you've kind of got 2 options. You just let him be who he is, and ask him for help and let him be the hero. And you want to know a secret about people that constantly step away when you try to get closer?
I do. I do want to know that secret.
You sneak up behind them because then they don't see you coming. If you want to pursue the man, you're probably gonna just have to make the move, Samantha. You can't play a game with a man like Gregory. He doesn't get it.
Can I ask you a question, Clyde?
Of course.
Have you ever tried to sneak up behind a horse?
Oh, lots of times. They're pretty easy, really. Most of the time a horse's ears are pointed forward, or they're pointing down. The trick, though, is you can't get too close to the horse. You kind of have to come at it as an angle, otherwise they kick directly behind when they get spooked. But if you slap them right on the backside, they don't kick backwards, they go forwards.
Well, I cannot come up behind Gregory too directly, lest I get kicked in the face.
Well, I don't know. I think sometimes it's better to get kicked in the face than not to try at all. Maybe he'll say sorry afterwards. And I've always got a good berry that'll help.
Can I have a good berry?
Oh, absolutely, here.
Some hand or a good berry.
I promise you, one of these days I'm going to figure out how to make a wine out of these. I just eat it.
I don't think that would work, because I think they spoil too quickly.
No. One of these days, even if it takes me forever, I will figure it out.
You should probably ask Javen. He might know.
Not he might.
Well, I suppose it's time to wake up Persephone and Javen. You stay here and think. Come on, mate.
Clyde, give yourself some team inspiration.
Oh, I got it.
Then roll a d20.
Oh, I know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I push a button on the screen.
Hey, look at that.
As the third watch eventually comes to an end, your conversation carrying on relatively long into this, well, now evening turning on to early morning, as it seems like the final watch has come alive. Everyone give me perception checks first. Everyone.
Ah, yes.
Lost in thought. Deep thought.
Yeah. Ooh.
Nero's got this. Many and Nero on it.
The animals know.
Damn.
Earthquake's coming.
No, the second one's actually Clyde.
Sure.
I was just gonna lick Draven's face as matey.
Yeah.
Yep. Both Clyde and Mitty, as you're going over to wake up the next watch, Mitty's the first to notice. His eyes can't quite carry as far, but his nose does pick up on something. You can hear off in the distance the sound of those howls that seem to be getting not softer, but lighter. Almost higher pitched as Mitty, your nose takes off towards the north ever so slightly, just to see, sort of peering off in the distance of your vision, you see a couple of heads bobbing up and down in the darkness looking at you. You can see light refracting in the eyes. They look at you almost on even level, except for the fact that they are on basically, a higher plane than you. As you see a pair of faces. Small, pointed, and canine. It looks like a couple of, like you, a wolf, but smaller. It looks like a couple of jackals just watching you from the distance. Sort of yip and bark as they quietly under their breaths as they're sort of looking around, but they don't seem to be approaching.
Oh. He's a jackal.
It's a jackal. It's a jackal. It's a jackal.
And as Mitty takes the steps closer looking at these things, they sort of watch for a moment, and then after maintaining some prolonged eye contact, they turn around and dart down the hill.
Oh, like backwards down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. What do you see, boy? What is that thing right there?
That's a centaur, long, long gone. He's hiding.
Oh,
Can't see me. I'm retreating. Can't find me.
Retreated.
Oh, he's retreated.
Yeah. Those centaurs are the ones that ran off during the fight.
Persephone, it's time to wake up.
Oh, okay.
And she almost sits up a little quickly. It's
Okay. Sorry, I'm just stressed out.
Why?
Do you have a good berry?
Yeah, I've got a good berry.
Everything.
Why are you stressed?
Well, because everybody's relying on me to come up with a plan, and I think I have a plan, but the situation is really bad, and the stakes are really, really high, and if
Just gonna put my hands on their shoulders. Persephone, you're smart. You're wise. You know what the feck you're doing. Quit doubting yourself.
Okay.
You're
I
a fucking
mean-
valiant 7 after all. You're a hero of Oakwell. You're not the little girl that you once were. You've got this. And we'll follow
Yeah.
you.
And if negotiations don't work out, then it's not our problem from up there.
If negotiations don't work out, we still got you, and it's not your fault if they don't. It takes 2 people to have negotiations. We know that you'd put your best foot forward. Or, well, maybe a vine forward.
Yeah.
Alright, hold on, mate, come on! Get back here!
Wait, did you give me the good berry?
Of course I gave you the good berry.
Okay, amazing. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna just climb up this hill. Oh no, he's gone.
Oh
As
god, okay.
You watch Persephone rise up the hill and start wandering farther away from Camp Clyde. As eventually, she seems to be heading off, but it is the end of your watch.
Draven's tagging along with Persephone. Oh.
This baby's gonna get low. Doesn't have advantage.
Minnie pulled himself down. trying to pull himself, slide his belly along the ground as he's following after them.
Aye.
Okay, let's see.
So I come up behind a horse the exact way that I say. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah. Yep, Javen, you're following after Persephone. After a while, Persephone walking along these hills, you can hear the sounds of nature all around you, the grass rustling, at least what remains of the burnt grass, the sounds of animals in the distance, and then you do just very softly hear the sound, this rustling, ever so quietly tailing you from the camp.
I was hoping to catch him before he left, as I'm holding the good berry, but I guess he got up earlier.
I mean, did he leave tracks for us at least? Can't see shit.
I'm sure he promised he would. I'm gonna go down the hill. I'm gonna just check.
Sure. As Javen, everything out here is pretty dark. You can just barely make out what's in front of your face. You
as he gets close to it and is like, okay, let's go. As Persephone walks down the hill, Javen sort of hobbling along so he doesn't lose balance. So he's pretty good at acrobatic. Doesn't really matter if you're walking on air expecting ground.
Oh yeah, you've done the drunk stumble many times as you're walking in the dark across hills, able to mainly keep your footing. The only problem is that you're basically following after Persephone's voice because, well, even the moon is not quite out tonight. It seems like there's clouds occluding it. It almost looks like it's going to rain soon. As, yeah, you're basically wandering around the dark following after her voice. And Persephone, when you arrive where looks like you left the centaur, you do see, just from your eyes, it looks like when the grass is flattened and turned, that something large was laying here. You do see spots of blood where this thing had basically bled out some of its wounds after being brought back to consciousness. But you don't see any sign of this thing other than looks like the trampled earth. Although it looks like heading off north, you do see impressions in the ground, ever so slight. They're not quite obvious, but with your passive survival, you're able to pick out just the slightest indication. What exact direction they're going besides north, hard to say, but there are tracks left behind.
And she's gonna smile and scurry back to Javen. And she's gonna just nod really, really fast.
He can't see that.
No, you can't! You're a dragon! What's wrong with you?
God didn't let me. The supreme god called Jeremy Christ didn't let me see.
That's racist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just calling a race of people, saying what's wrong with them. I see how it is, Persephone. Alright, you like your centaurs, but alright, okay, sure, alright.
And Clyde, what are you doing in camp? Still awake?
Oh, I'm listening in from mighty senses with the kindred spirit.
Sitting on the ground, getting yourself in a meditative state for a moment, and your eyes open, and they almost seem to not glow, but they're filled with this.
The whole time that he was walking out there and sneaking.
Mm-hmm. Like your eyes sort of filled with soft white and dim light, not enough to let out a shine or anything, but enough to show there's something going on. Minnie's eyes sort of flash the same way. His multicolored eyes become one color, and they soon turn into yours as you're looking through his eyes, seeing through his vision. Everything, of course, is in black and white, as it is in the dark. But you do hear and see, looks like Persephone going over to this patch of ground. Not really sure what she's doing over there, but she seems to be looking for something, and she seems quite happy to find nothing.
Well, I mean, I heard her talking about going over there and giving him a good berry and coming back, and he's not there.
Clyde, are you chilling against? Do you look like you're supposed to be sleeping, or are you just standing in the shadows?
Oh, I'm on the ground. I'm sitting, kind of leaned up against the tent, with my face the other way. See, I'm looking this way.
Okay.
So you can see the back of me sitting.
Okay. Just checking. No, he's not there.
That's good.
They're faint, but they're there. So I just gotta uphold my end of the promise.
It also means he didn't bleed out.
Well,
which is good.
I gave him as much magic as I could to heal him, and that's I was hoping to give him a good berry before I sent him off. Give him a little extra strength, but he might have gotten up before we did.
Oh, one thing to do now.
Yep.
Uh,
Gonna go back to the campsite. I don't have to worry about Centaur anymore. Plop myself down in front of Samantha.
Poor Javen doesn't know which direction he's going.
Okay.
So he wanders out.
firelight.
You can walk towards the light.
Yeah, you can walk towards the light.
Oh, you're in darkness, you're blind. That's how it works.
That's not how it works.
Guess I just break my concentration as Matey's right next to me. And I pat him on the head. I look over at him and go, all these fucking secrets.
Okay, so I murder Clyde.
So after a little while, Samantha, it's kind of weird. You saw Clyde go over to wake up Persephone, and Mitty went over to wake up Javen. It sounded like they took their time to do it. Eventually, when you heard them stirring, they didn't come to camp to sit with you. You're sort of by yourself for about 5, almost 10 minutes. And then after a little bit, they sort of show back up out of the dark.
Yeah, Samantha would just be kind of thinking about what it was Clyde said, and after that, just continuing on trying to read Paracelsus's spell book and some of his notes, and just kind of going over them and passing the time like she usually does.
Sure. Roll me a straight in check. Yep, you're going over some of the parts you've already been through. You've had enough time reading this book that you've basically gotten all you can as far as face value, but you know that these tomes are much more complicated than they let on. This thing has been filled with sigils and markers and symbols that don't just stand for one thing. You have to put the pieces together, and you're just sort of stuck on basically where you started. You spend time prying, trying to understand and put those pieces together, but by the time you stop, which probably take maybe about an hour or so, you're sort of still where you were. The mysteries of this man remain locked away. Is there anything else you guys want to do on the fourth watch? As the sun continues to rise and bring light to the land?
No, Persephone's just gonna pass some time writing in her journal.
Oh, Javen's going to take that time to just do his regular warm-up. His sun salutation.
Okay. As eventually light returns to the land, and it's, now that it's clear of the death from the day before, it's kind of beautiful watching the sun rise over in the east. The far distance, you can see just the soft silhouette of something, probably the mountains, that don't quite make it to the horizon. You can see the light blooming and casting over the hills. It almost looks like a series of shadows pour over you as the hills become engulfed in this amber light. And you find yourselves basking in the early morning.
Morning, yo.
Morning.
Just close a tome and just put it away back in my bag. Good morning.
Was that Nero?
God, they just all instantly materialize.
As they all start coming to.
Is that Nero? I should kill everyone. Well, if you say so.
Yes, Gregory. Just kill.
Alright, well. What's the plan, y'all?
I've got something to show everyone. But we are going to head north.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, if you gotta show everyone, maybe Samantha should come back.
I'm getting Phobos.
Oh, do you want me to blow my whistle to get her attention?
No,
Don't do
no,
that, she'll
no,
probably kill you.
don't. Yeah, don't.
Oh.
If you abuse using that whistle pipe, we'll have to take it away from you.
Yes, you could fucking try.
Riding north. Do you have a trail? As Captain Martom, as you see him putting on his armor and seeming trying to be cleaning himself up from the fight before.
Well,
No,
I don't like to boast,
I have a
but
plan.
if there's any kind of trail or anything that needs tracking in this realm, I'll fucking track it.
Yeah. And
Did you
we know
like
they're
talk to
looking.
plants or something first?
I can talk to the plants and I can talk to animals. If the Zephyrtoon tribe travel throughout these lands, it shouldn't take us too long to figure out where they are.
I must say,
Alright.
a very impressive lot. And I like that one's confidence as he motions over towards the Catman.
Cool, but how are you to deal with the fact that they probably know our faces and will probably shoot us on sight?
Don't worry, I got a plan, and I'm going to just skip off.
Persephone's got a plan, don't worry.
I'm going to skip off, and they follow me or they don't, but I'm going to keep skipping.
Skipping. Come on, Luna.
As I try to skip
On her
through.
face.
Oh, she got some figured out.
Tell Pity to trip her.
I can't believe it's still so dark out at sunrise.
So pity to trip me.
Yeah, excuse me.
Bad acrobatics.
As someone's you're trying to trip her?
Pity's trying to trip me because Luna hates me.
Sure, give me an acrobatics check.
You didn't answer my question.
Winning.
Get fucked,
Yep.
pity.
As suddenly on the ground,
Yeah.
Persephone, quick with your sharp perception, you can see a stick sort of pull its way in front of your foot, but you're too bouncy and skippy, you just bound right over it. And you see the stick like lift off the ground to smack itself on the ground and break in frustration. Before that familiar chill seems to pull over you, Luna.
You killed Pity.
You could
Pity
have.
killed himself.
Broad daylight and killed him. Well, nightlight.
Yep, after about 5 minutes, with Persephone really leading a strong lead, she is eager to go west after saying north, but she seems to have a plan. You find a small patch of grass. Just looks like all the others, only you're farther away from the camp, basically just out of sight of things. When, Mitty, you were close to here before, but not quite close enough to be within reach of it. Your nose sort of twitches, and you wander over to where Persephone is. Clyde, if you follow after him, you do notice, with your passive survival, looks like on the ground, where it looks like something big has been laying here, like if one of the horses were sleeping outside of camp, but there's spots of blood and looks like faint impressions in the ground leading off to the north.
Oh, that's good. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with my token, but I can't see anything.
I had to restart roll 20.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah,
I
the
literally,
lighting is,
it's
weird.
just dark. It's like there's a circle.
Ooh.
Yeah, my dark vision circle was
There.
just stuck
How
in the
about
center
that?
of my screen. So
Oh, I
had to
can see
restart.
things.
That's weird. Okay.
I can see clearly now. The talk is gone.
Okay, so I was able to talk to one of the centaurs yesterday.
Oh,
And-
no way!
Clyde, what the
One
fuck?
survived.
No, she was talking to one before it all happened.
Oh, I don't remember that. I got too busy getting impaled.
Yeah, you sort of ran off the other way.
What did he say?
Well, his version of events matches the humans' version in terms of they didn't really know what the other group wanted. The other group felt threatened, and they started fighting. But I think I got him to trust me, and I promised that we were going to speak to their chief on one condition.
Right?
We need to travel to where the centaurs are without
Right.
our weapons.
Wait. Without our
Having weapons implies hostility.
They will
That
feel
makes
Oh
sense.
boy, that Ivar came out on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
They will know if we travel with our weapons, and they will assume that we've lied and that we are actually going to exterminate them. And if we have any hope of speaking to them about peace, we need to approach them peacefully. And if doing so without our weapons equals that, that's what I'm willing to do.
I mean, that sort of sounds like we just giving ourselves up.
I mean, they're honorable creatures.
Are they?
They are. Everything.
How do we know that? All I saw was they attacking innocent people.
Well,
Yeah, you
Killing
didn't
some and
talk
stringing
to
up others.
You didn't talk to
Unfortunately-
Emerson.
Yeah. Fortunately, Persephone's the only one that can actually speak to them, so kind of just have to trust Persephone on everything. God, that sounds so disgusting.
Purse, how much could you learn from? You talked to him for like 3 seconds.
No, there was another one. After all the fighting quieted down.
Look over, realize the body's not there.
And Persephone just smiles up at Gregory, and she nods.
Still, we almost killed the thing, and in order for it to go free, it said, yeah, come on over to my house, just don't bring anything to defend yourself, I'm sure it'll be fine. That don't sound like a good plan, Purse. It sounds like, yeah, follow me, but you're gonna fucking die if you do.
Well, I understand the concern. There's a simple fix to this as I pull out my bag. This is literally bottomless. Well, as far as I can tell. If you just put all your weapons in here, if we do get attacked, I could just turn it upside down and dump everything out. And then you just pick up all your weapons.
Persephone's gonna go ahead and drop her sickle into the bag.
Think.
Like you see the sickle drop into
Cuts
this
the
small
side of it all the way
pouch.
down. Just
You see it drop into this small pouch, and then just almost breaks your mind for a moment to see this larger than the bag sickle slipping down inside and just whoop. You expect it to fall straight through, but no, it holds.
wait. Can I keep my arrows?
No.
But even if I don't have a bow,
No.
Yeah, we probably.
Can it hold this
frickin'
damn
arrows I
thing?
have.
How
Hold
big
up my
is this?
big ass sword.
How big is it? Can it fit?
The sword?
If you put it in this way.
Yep, it looks like, I mean, you've never really put something that big in there. It looks like it would fit if you just sort of like brought it down long ways, but you're not certain. You have to give it a shot.
Well, do you want to try it, Loda? You want to see if I can fit this big thing down to that little hole?
Gregory
Gregory?
Timerton, you are
We're just going to ignore.
Yeah, like, alright, sure. As I die, but
I mean, most of those missed.
like I'll agree to that. Just I don't know. These things did not seem like they're negotiating type from before all this. I understand they couldn't really talk.
Understand the humans, Gregory. That's ridiculous. You can't say they can't be spoken to when the languages being exchanged are not understood by either group.
Wait, hold on now.
Still, the
Right.
first action was to kill people, though.
Right? I
It
understand where
Mercy
Gregory's
is the
coming
mother of an amended soul, Timberson. Give him a chance, at least. I did. I was the one that knocked it out.
Look,
All creatures can be redeemed, Timberson. We just need to give him a chance. Got
I'm
it?
going along with the plan, but I'm just saying it. Very likely we walk up there and we get 20 damn javelins coming through the air at us. They
And I
gonna see
have
people walking up
magic.
on them.
But if that happens, though, Gregory, we're fine. We'll just dodge him.
And
Things
to
are
be
big,
fair,
lad.
we are not truly going to re-defense this. I mean, Luna is an absolute powerhouse, and she doesn't seem to need anything to do that.
That's
David
true.
fights with his fists, and
Right.
Persephone and I can call on magic. That should hold back the waves and waves of barbaric centaurs until you can
That's
get your
true.
sword.
But I
out
mean,
of
I
your
got-
purse.
I got these.
Yeah,
They're not
Again.
gonna make me cut off my fucking hands, are they?
No.
that'd be-
Again, I
Maybe we should
ain't
try
got
it.
no weapons on me. I'm going with the plan. I just want to say, I highly doubt they won't talk.
Well,
No.
One of
Make him
them,
talk, it's gonna be Persephone.
what was it, Persephone? They like made a promise because I spared his life.
Yeah, he said that.
And she puts her hand over her face the same way the centaur did for her.
This is the face that has spoken a promise. The Zephyrtune tribe will hold honor to this promise. And if it becomes a lie, they will retaliate.
Oh, they don't want that. Luna, you might want somebody else to hold the bag for a while. It's gonna be a while.
What do you mean?
As I'm just pulling out fucking arrows and quivers after quivers after
I'm just
quivers.
gonna put it on the ground.
fucking arrows.
Quivers
As you, as it's,
quivers
you know,
after quivers.
it's interesting. You've seen Clyde dispose of many arrows in the past. You never really, you see him collect them, but after a while, he just sort of stopped. And now that you see Clyde opening up his backpack after unstrapping his very nice-looking quiver, he pulls out one of them that looks familiar. This dark leather, very ornately made. It looks like the goblin's arrows. He pulls out another one, more crudely in design. Looks like maybe he got them from one sort of other goblin tribe. Maybe maybe it was the timber maws of the past, or maybe even the marrow tooths, those who had the arrows strapped to their back in the Cragmaw cave. But now that he pulls out about between what I'm gonna say about 4 quivers.
Well, I have 163 arrows.
Yeah, a lot more than that.
and 8
A lot more than
silver
that.
arrows,
Son, are you thick?
and
Just
a bow.
Just
and
put
a
the
short
quiver
sword.
in the back. Don't take the arrows out the quiver.
Oh, I'm putting all the other quivers in.
Dear God.
As one by one, just assembly lines shoving quivers of different design, make, and filled with different arrows, as if he's been collecting them into the strange bag. And God forbid, Luna, after maybe about the 7th or 8th, you're hoping this still holds, but fortunately, after the last one drops in, looks like it's still fine.
Oh, wait. As I just pull out the club that I forgot that I still had from the from the sword day thing, the butterfly whatever, and I put that in there too.
Don't put that in, I pick it out and just put it on the floor.
What?
Don't
Why?
need that.
Hey, put a wooden sword on the ground.
It's award-winning, Luna.
Yeah, here's my 2 hand axes and my javelins and my axe. Can I take my shield? Can I leave a shield on my back? Or
Yeah,
that?
leave it on your back.
That's not a weapon, Gregory. It's for defensive purposes.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know. It's a big old piece of shiny metal. They might think that's a weapon.
Now, matey, don't smile too much.
Same
They
with your armor.
weapons.
Well, I gotta take my
Armor's
armor off.
fine.
Yeah.
But he's got to take his armor off.
I mean,
Armor would
I'm
be
gonna look like I'm coming to fight somebody. You don't really wear armor for meet and greet. Should we all go strip down?
He only mentioned weapons. And when he told me about the humans starting to build the road, he specifically mentioned that they brought steel. So I would just assume leaving the
I
weapons.
mean, I'm
in
sure
the
if we
device.
just walk up to them, even with
Sorta
Gregory in the
covered
time,
it.
like he just keeps his hands like in the air.
Yeah. That's another thing. As we travel through these hills, be very conscious of what you say and how you act, especially about the centaurs. They
Wait,
have
what?
somebody who can see for them.
Wait, I thought they couldn't understand the language.
They don't.
Yeah, that's right. Do they not just know that we just shoved all the things in a bag to get them later?
They may.
Should we leave the bag here? Because that sounds like a terrible idea. I mean,
Look, at a point.
putting it in the bag shows that we're willing to compromise.
Exactly. After a point, it becomes unreasonable and untenable. And we are meeting their demands as they specified. And you needing to strip out of your armor is, I think, unnecessary.
I mean, y'all said the whole somebody came to my house thing. Somebody showed up at my house covered in armor. I'd probably be mighty suspicious of that.
But would you be more so or less so if they showed up with or without weapons?
Well, yeah, obviously, Liz. I'm just saying, am I gonna get shot because they're gonna be like that motherfucker dressed for war?
Probably not. I think the important thing is that you just don't show up weapons drawn. I think you'll be fine.
All right.
I didn't want to interrogate him. He was already nervous. I told him I would listen, and I did. And he was still weakened after the battle. I didn't think it would have been appropriate to ask him for specifics. I'm following what he's asked of us to the best what I feel are our capabilities considering the circumstances.
I understand. I just don't know what's gonna get us in trouble or not. I don't want to screw this all up just because I didn't take my arm off.
Then I'll explain to them exactly why we approached the way we did. I think keeping the weapons in the bag and away from our immediate reach is one way of handling it. And maybe if Luna stands in the back with the bag, to make it appear like it will be harder for us to acquire our weapons.
All right. If it comes down to it, though, Purse, if we find a camp or something and they say, "Come on in," no, not y'all, just the littling. That ain't gonna happen, right? We ain't gonna let you just walk in there by your lonesome, right?
I should be fine to go in too.
Yeah. The centaur that we saved is in debt to Javen
Yeah.
for saving his life.
You won't be going in alone.
Honorable people, though, Gregory. We'll be fine.
That chief, I don't know if y'all heard last night, but I talked to God. He seems to be a monster of a thing, even compared to these.
Persephone.
Some that stands 15 feet tall and such.
That's how these things usually. God.
How tall is the centaur? Normal
like a
centaur
horse.
face.
Like 6 feet?
Typically, they basically measure the size of what they appear to be, like a horse with a person riding on top. You would say probably between 8 and 10 feet tall. 10 being pretty tall.
Big horses.
Mm-hmm.
Horses are huge. Never mind.
So the chief
Horses
is
are
about
large.
as tall as the maw.
No, I mean like in real life. I always forget horses are fucking gigantic in real life.
Big.
No,
They're
like
huge.
dogs. They're like only like 3 feet off the ground,
Yeah.
horses.
They're like come up to here on me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're medium-sized creatures.
But if there's a big
large.
ornery son bitch leading all these things, they may not listen to just some guy that you let go. He might
Chief
go back and
Golkar
say,
is not ornery. He wanted peace.
"Chief, who now?"
That's his name.
She flips through her journal. Hang on.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. I rewrote it like 4 times.
Wait, what's his name? I didn't hear you.
Chief Kokar.
Kokar.
Okay.
Oh, that's fun to say. Kokar.
And that's the one we going to?
I'm
Wait, is
gonna-
that another one?
No, I want to speak with him, and I want to speak to their seer, Devora.
Devora.
Devora is the one that saw the humans coming. She felt threatened by their presence. Their chief wanted peace. Though their display of peace may have been misunderstood,
About
that
murdering
was his
people.
attempt.
Oh.
Gregory!
Well, I mean, they're just defending their land, Gregory.
I know, I'm just saying, there's a weird idea that we walking in here and they're going to have open arms and happy to see us and they're going to invite us in for a feast.
That!
You're saying he's wanting peace and that he won't ask you to go in there by yourself because he might think big man in armor is a threat, so he'd leave my ass outside. And then I don't know what's going in there and you have me worried damn to death. Because I think that's what's going to happen. They're going to say, let the little girl come in, she talked to us, we trust her, but all you other fucks stay outside. And I ain't going to let that happen.
As I just walk over to Gregory and put my hand on his shoulder. Gregory, it'll be fine. We've come far too far to be having some little spat over some centaurs. Just take it on faith. I know Savalis will got us covered. I'm sure Evangel will too.
You can see Greg actually starting to breathe heavy. His chest is starting to like heave. You can start to see the fucking vein in his neck. Something you see every once in a while. And then with that, hell.
No, I think Prue said Persephone's pretty good on her own. But that's just me.
Alright, let's go.
We just have a signal or something, Purse. Can you make a sound if something goes wrong? If we outside a big old tent and you go caw, we know shit's gone wrong.
The rings.
Oh,
Pull out my little bronze ring.
we'll just use the rings.
Why didn't we link these outside just as we walked out the building while we were still putting
Wait,
Well, at least mine with Samantha.
I had to make sure Peleus wasn't going to spend his gold everywhere.
Why didn't no one link with me?
I'll link
Purse
with you,
will-
Javen.
Purse, do
Oh, yeah,
this.
besides you, Clyde. Because I know you were on top of that.
Walking up to Purses. Thank God for this. Yeah. That'll work.
Yeah, if we all link the rings, then if I'm in trouble and I have to go alone, I can let you guys know.
Alright, they're
There you go,
probably
Javen.
gonna
Let's
let
link.
Okay,
Well,
I'll
I'll
do
link
it
with
anyways.
Javen. And then no one else.
What's
Okay,
anyone
I
link with
tried
me?
to link with Luna, but she says no.
Hey, Clyde. I'll trust in you. You surprised me, Clyde.
With every touch where your rings connect, you the sound like a metallic ring going through your ears, but then it sort of resonates in your mind. As if it's not only reaching your ears, obviously, it's almost like telepathic, but then it stops. And yeah. You guys give it a test
Can anyone hear me?
Oh,
as her voice carries out to everyone's ears all at once. Although it's a bit disorienting as you're hearing her say it and also hearing her say it.
well, that's kind of cool.
I know that works.
Alright. So, I don't understand how this works either. So, I'm not gonna worry about it until I have to.
Do you have to like talk into the ring?
No, I think
You
it
have to
just
like
does-
do like put the pinky up in the corner of your mouth, and then, is that how you do it? Is that a little bit too evil?
Taste.
Do I look like a doctor?
Taste.
No, doctors wear bird masks.
Taste.
Oh,
I think
And
it
after a
just
little
looks
bit,
like-
acclimating to the magic, you hear Clyde's voice doubling like test, 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 and it begins to soften as Clyde. Well, it's hard to tell with the with also the psychic goings ons, but you see Mitty give you a strange look, as at least to his perspective, your lips are moving, you're speaking into your ring, but then the sounds vanish, as it looks like you're just talking no words into your ring.
alright then. Well, alright, I'm done bitching.
Great.
That puts my mind at ease
Let's
a bit.
go. Persephone's got a promise to keep.
Alright.
They got a promise to keep to me, too.
Glad to hear it. It does not suit
Okay.
you, Gregory.
I mean, it's only fit on my pinky, so
No, I've
What are
been
you gonna do?
bitching. It doesn't suit you.
I don't know. Kids always told me I was a bit of a warrior.
He's a hope on me horse.
It was something different on that mountain, but I don't know. When I've been at all this, words keep on flooding back. As it
Oh, there you are.
Okay.
I'm
As
sure it'll
Clyde,
be fine.
are you going to be looking through these tracks and trying to figure out where exactly they're taking you?
Of course I'm looking at the tracks.
Well, then give me a survival check. These tracks, well, they weren't too hard to find, and now that you're actually putting your eyes to them, they're quite evident. This looks like this person didn't really try to hide them at all. Mitty's able to put his nose to the ground and pick up a scent, but you may not even need them. The grass in this area has been burned and scorched. It looks like all the whatever Persephone would have brought up to make it harder to follow this thing has been gone, and now you can just follow these hoof prints in the ground. And they seem to travel, at least mostly north, when you guys begin your travel, riding on your horses that you brought with you. Maybe not Javen, though? Did Javen walk on feet, or is he just booking it?
Javen's pretty fast.
He is pretty fast. As Javen walking alongside the mounted Valiant 7. It looks like the path as you go along these hills sort of veers to the side, a bit to the east and a bit to the west, sort of to make room for these hills. probably a bit exhausting for someone to constantly go up and down when trying to make an escape. So instead, as it begins to go north, it seems to veer a bit off eventually to the west until you're heading northwest. And as you walk along these hills, let's give you something pretty to look at. You can see the light of the sun is somewhat occluded as the sky is this heavy overcast. Clouds covering everything save for the slight gleams of silver light breaching through the veil. You guys eventually find like a nice pass where you begin to sort of follow a relatively straight way. Anything else you want to do in your travel? Otherwise, we're going to be basically booking it for about, about 5 hours or so.
Plenty of time for Greg to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Yes. I'm going to take a quick bathroom break.
Potty break!
I cannot guarantee this will be a relatively short session, so get your breaks in now.
Absolutely. Have you ever thought to yourself, why do I have to use the bathroom so much? Well, let me tell you, because you've enjoyed some delicious flavors of Artisan coffee. Things like cookies
Peanut butter. We got
peanut butter. There's
cup,
maple bacon.
strawberry
cheesecake.
pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice, that's not the right time of year for that, but look at that, it's a little witch on there. And each one of these little small batches of coffee, they come with a beautiful little drawn image from locally sourced artists. They're kind of neat if you ask me. You could start a collection, have them hanging up in your office, maybe in your D&D or dungeon room, or, on the refrigerator. So try it out, and use our promo code LION10 to get 10% off of Hearts and Coffee.
There we go.
What do you
sponsorship,
Short session, Omen. How late are we going, Omen? I've got responsibilities, Omen!
Not crazy late.
I
It's
think
just,
17 hours
it's just,
later.
I
It's
love
just,
you guys. I love you guys.
You don't have responsibilities, John. You don't do anything at work.
we do this
Like-
to ourselves, John.
So it's like, you guys are great, but also shut the fuck up.
Why do you think
I'm
I
just
never
happy you
roleplay
guys are
on
having
the
fun.
road?
This game wouldn't be anywhere near special to me if it wasn't for all the talking.
As long as it's not truth or dare. Fuck that shit.
That shit was amazing.
If you want to know what we're talking about, go watch the old VODs of Song of Rapture. Watch it from the very beginning.
That's true. We played Truth or Dare. It was great.
God.
Available on YouTube. You can see a link beneath the video. And check it out on YouTube and catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so fucking
You
hungry.
can see the hyper long episodes of just 3 hours of in-character deep conversations.
That's true.
Yeah, we had to cut it down when we moved to weekdays.
Mm-hmm.
You think this was a lot of RP?
Oh, yeah.
Giggle.
Alright.
Got everyone back? Hey,
Yep.
there she is.
Yes.
Oh no, it's the evil one.
Ugh.
Luna is a sweetheart.
No, I know better.
As you guys left relatively early in the morning, just when the sun was beginning to, at least trying to breach the overcast, about maybe 6 or so, about 5 hours pass. It's starting to reach high noon, and now some of the clouds are trying to part, but it's only enough to basically cast these wide shadows across the valley. You guys make it about, I want to say about 40 miles from where you started, heading at least north at first until eventually veering northwest. And then you begin to make out shapes between the valleys. It's almost like well hidden in one of these shadows, well placed between them. You don't see smoke. You don't see the signs of an obvious camp, but you do see something sticking out of the ground. These large wooden spires, even some of them made of stone, almost like these large leaning tents, and splayed between them and this large tarp looks like the hide of some animal. They're few at first, but then they begin to grow in number more and more, and bodies move among them. Those that, well, after a little while, they're maybe about 500 feet away from you guys, once you veer around one large jagged hill, begin to make out the shapes and appearances of men, those who ride atop horses, but There are no saddles. There are no spurs. There are no leathers, save for the armor they wear as you begin to make out the shape of centaurs. But among them are other shapes, things that kind of, well, some of them are a bit jarring. You see smaller folk, those who walk on two legs. You see people, humans, even a couple of them, well, it's hard to tell, they're shorter folk, maybe halflings, possibly workers. Some of them wear, looks like workers' garbs, although they've been dirtied and somewhat torn, looks like in a scuffle. Other of them actually look, well, they're wearing leathers, like actual armor. You could see, well, they don't have a spear on them like the other guards did. They don't have a shield. They just seem to be stripped of everything. They're walking among the ranks of these centaurs, unbound, unchained, and, well, at least from you can tell, Persephone, your ability to sort of just pick up on the general mood of people's faces seem pretty well content.
Oh, thank God.
And every once in a while, sort of bounding between them, darting between legs, you'll see it looks like a small furry forms, those about the size of Mitty but smaller, covered head to toe in fur, pointed faces, and large ears. They look like coyotes, at least to you, Gregory, but they're a bit different, a bit more vicious and wild, more predatory than scavenger. They look like jackals. And as you guys begin to approach, getting closer and closer to this camp, the eyes begin to turn your way, and you can hear the chanting among the tents as soon the ground begins to rumble. And you guys are approached by, it looks like a number of these things, with pikes in hand, not pointed, but just held at their side, as several of these things make themselves known and begin to approach you.
Persephone's going to make her way to the front of the group to stand beside Clyde as they approach.
Okay.
Over and I whisper into Persephone's ear. You've got this.
Yeah, I'm right next to her.
I feel so important.
It's all you, Purse. No one else can help you now.
Yeah, no one else can help
I
me.
don't feel like I want to be.
As at least a total of 6 of these centaurs approach, with more sort of gathering their arms in the back, as word seems to be barking between their members. As they see it, as more and more people begin to become aware, you can see some of the humans among them turning to look at the commotion, but not really getting any closer or expressing anything of interest. They're just sort of trying to peek over, see what's going on. As eventually, unless you guys are charging at them yourselves, the thundering gets louder and louder until these 6 centaurs sort of reach you in this 2-line pattern before some of them break off and begin to surround you. You can hear their thunderous footsteps, basically pounding in the earth around you, shaking stones loose and flattening the grass as one of them begins to speak, at least in a language that only one of you possibly understands. You've come to the wrong place, humans. I don't know how you found us, but you will not last.
I've come to speak to Chief Kokar.
I just respond back to them in Sylvan.
Oh, I know
As-
that word, Kokar.
As they're basically circling around you, thundering. The moment you start speaking back in their language, there's a falter in their step as some of them stop and give you a sideways glance, Persephone, and the ones addressing you, his expression hardens, somewhat softens, but remains firm, as similar to the last one you faced. And you see him tightening his grip on his pike. You may speak this language, but do you mean peace? Have you come armed?
No. We do not come with arms at our waists or in our hands.
Hmm.
I am here to speak of peace.
As he motions with his pike towards basically the general vicinity of the group, and some of the centaurs give him a nod, and they begin to approach some of you guys, getting very intimately close.
I'm checking to see if it's intimately hostile or intimately weary or intimately friendly.
Sure.
Don't be nervous, guys.
Yeah, don't be nervous.
Yeah, Clyde, you can tell by the way they're trotting, how heavy their steps are, how they're grunting, and basically making themselves as puffed up and as powerful as possible, that they're mostly being cautious, but there is a lot of just airs of power being put on. They do not want to seem meek. They are basically showing off their strength. As these things will be walking around to you guys. One of them coming up to you, Gregory, on your horse. He looks down at the mount you're saddled on, up to you, and immediately a hand comes out and just sort of slaps at your side, testing your armor. Just trying to feel for something.
Howdy? Can I help you with something?
So he reaches up, puts his hand almost close to your neck, up the edge of your armor, pulls it back a bit. You can feel the leather harness aside, sort of straining against you. And then he releases you. As he walks away from you. And again, just like Gregory, although some people have to basically get really close up on their horse. Luna, one of these things, does the same thing to you, although these rough touches, you feel as he sort of smacks against you, sort of pushing. Eventually you hear this click, and immediately the armor on this thing's waist falls and hits the ground. So he looks back. So, you ever see a horse?
I thought he was like offering himself to me. I was like, what the fuck?
Seems like that, yeah. Seems like the centaur is touching your body, and then immediately after touching you, you feel that sort of shiver as, it seems like Pity's getting restless, and then it just seems like his sort of waistcoat just unhitches itself and just falls to the ground. So yeah, it kind of seems like he's offering himself to you.
What the hell? Luna, what?
Persephone's gonna coax her horse a little further so she's not stuck between Javen and Clyde, because she's noticing the centaurs are just trying to figure us out and ensure that we're unarmed, so she's gonna make it a little easier. And not as if she's heavily guarded.
Wait. And I'm gonna give him a good berry.
As, yeah, the one that lost his coat just doesn't know how to express himself, so he just sort of stares at the ground confused, and he sort of backs up, and yeah, you ever seen a horse kneel down? It's sort of weird. His rump rises high in the air, his front legs curl in, he tries to grab at this thing and pick it up, and as unceremoniously as possible, hitch itself back onto his body, and he just sort of leaves you only halfway checked. And the rest of you, yeah, these things come up, start basically roughly handling you, pulling at your cloak if you have one. Samantha, one of them tries to reach up and try to pull back your hood. And, oh yeah. What does he see when the hood goes back?
My hair seems to move with his hand as he would just reach through the illusion and feel a manifestation of scales. I would not do that if I were you.
Monster!
Let's see, just pulls your hood back over your head forcefully and just trots off to join the others. Yeah, and one by one, like, as you offer one a good berry, Clyde, he looks then at your hand, sort of grabs it with his finger, gives it a sniff, sort of crushes it in his hand, and then just wipes the juice off on his chest, and then
That's gonna stain.
and then continues to check you out. He doesn't seem to give Mitty much mind. He just sort of trots around him. And lastly, Javen, a bit awkward as you're on the ground. These things are standing above you. One of them looks down, pulls at your collar, pulls at your shirt. So he seems to get lost in interest at all the baubles you just seem to wear on your body, the stones hanging down from your waist. It looks like some of them are like, I guess, did you say Javen has a hat on him? Or is it
a hat?
Or a horn?
A horn.
A horn. As he's like pulls out the brass thing, looks at it, puts it back. But eventually, after going one by one, and Persephone being seemingly the last, you guys are basically dismissed from their presence. They pull away, and the one looking at you, Persephone, the one seemingly not the leader, but at least the addressee, looks back towards the center of the village. You may not enter these grounds just yet, outsiders. But we'll see what Lady Devora has planned for you. As they begin to pull back into the village, although a couple of them, as they begin to escape, leave at least a bit of distance between you and them before stopping, about 200 feet or so, as they basically stand as patrols. As the rest of them basically wander off back into camp.
I'm assuming that's a good sign.
So I move my horse forward, closer to the one that I was speaking to. I thought it was Kokar who is chief. Is your seer above him in rank?
Lady Sia is his new mate. She foresees such instances and offers guidance for the great chief. You have not earned his presence yet.
I understand. Forgive me, I don't know of your ways. Thank you.
No, you do not. As after a little while, centaurs go back into the village, and you can see sort of building up as a crowd along the edge of this settlement are more of these centaurs. Some of them look unarmed. You can see they're not even wearing armor or shackles or any of the leather fastenings to their bodies. Some of them just seem to be wearing like bones and other trinkets. Very different in appearance. Some of them look familiar, dark skinned, wearing like parts like bones and wood upon their body. Looks like those something like the shamans, although they don't carry staves with them. They almost just look like typical villagers. And then after about 5 minutes or so, bounding around excitedly, you can see it looks like a group of these jackals following after, or at least leading ahead of these centaurs, as between them, walking along is somewhat a sight to behold. It is a very slender, somewhat small, maybe only about just shy of 8 feet in height, centaur with long flowing black hair tied back in this golden band, a slender humanoid body, very beautiful in appearance. And it looks like this dark fur horse lower half, with a long tail that seems to sway and wind in the air behind her as if perpetually carried by a breeze. As a woman approaches you.
Oh no, she's hot.
Oh god, Jay's hot!
Oh no!
Oh no, she's hot!
Gorgeous!
Oh no. Javen,
The
calm
power
yourself.
of Underboob. She conquers you.
Oh god,
Indeed,
no!
she
Javen,
doesn't
don't
seem to be
fall.
wearing
Don't do
any
it,
sort of
Javen.
armor, just like the slightest strap of cloth upon her chest, with other sort of trinkets and adornments upon her, a collar that seems to jingle with jewels and bones.
Matey, calm down. Don't bite them. They're just jackals.
Yeah, as Mitty, you see Mitty actually looking off towards this group, and as the jackals are bounding around and this woman approaches, he sort of, you see his fur bristling ever so slightly, but at your command, he maintains himself. As this centaur walking forward on soft-sounding hooves looks over you all with a very curious expression, before a smile spreads across her face, and she speaks out in common. Well now, this is an unexpected sight.
Oh god, she speaks common too.
Wait.
That's
Isn't
good.
she the seer? Doesn't she see everything?
You just hear Clyde, you have pretty sharp ears. You just hear an audible snicker behind you. Samantha just seems to be in relatively good spirits.
Is it afternoon? What
Oh,
was
it's
the day of
afternoon.
the grade?
Good afternoon.
Hi,
Persephone.
yeah, I'm Javen, the dragon.
Oh, my horse is finally to the back so I can see Clyde's beautiful coat.
The merciful dragon has arrived. I see.
Yeah.
It's finally good to meet a kind soul in person. And it was Persephone. It's good to have a name to match a face. I must say, I did not expect you to find us. We do very well to hide our tracks, but, well, must have been kindness shown in return. When you, merciful one, spared that poor stallion. I must ask you. As she steps forward, you can see the jackal starting to calm down now as she steps up close to you, Persephone. And yeah, the closer she gets, she is a very beautiful looking woman. If she wasn't centaur, she'd pass for probably a noble or a queen of sorts. And you see her reaching out her hand very delicately, these long black nails on tops of her hands, gently caressing her hand along your horse, almost admiring the beast, and you can see it and feel it shiver beneath you as she looks up to you. I heard that there was quite the spilling of blood at that camp. But amidst the death there was something new, something that these people have not seen. A chance at mercy. I have to wonder, do you truly seek peace, Persephone? Do you truly wish to help the Zephytune in this endeavor? To do so may require, dire actions.
Spin my ring a little bit. Just think out. I don't like this. I thought they didn't speak common.
I've come to see peace on both sides. I think the conflict is just due to a large misunderstanding.
As she begins to reach her hand towards your face, Persephone,
Letter.
and
Just
she
as
just
she did with last centaur.
just gently glides her fingers down, sort of shutting your eyes for a moment, and her hands are just so warm, Persephone. It's so inviting, and when you open them, you see a warm and beaming smile on her face. Your intentions read true, little elf. And do you speak for your allies here? It was they who I saw spill blood of the Zephytune. Understandably, of course, to protect their people, but can you attest for them as well?
Yes. We are all in agreement of what it is we wish to accomplish.
Very well. As Clyde, you're trying to check her out to see if her words, what exactly are you looking for?
I'm trying to see if she's full of shite or if she's actually true and honest.
Yeah, she
Greg's
seems like
totally
she's
doing
pretty
the
genuine. Okay. Give me a roll, Greg.
Yeah!
Give me
Ooh!
Yeah, we're twinsies!
Reading over this woman, she's really pretty. But overlooking that, you know this is a tricky situation. There's something going on here. As you realized, Greg, these things supposedly didn't speak common, and yet this one, a leader among them, does. But the way her face smiles, the way her eyes beam with this soft light behind them, at least seems like she's being honest with Persephone.
Hey, God. My
Yes.
heart seer, it says as an action I can touch creature. Can I, use that when a creature touches me?
You're touching them.
Yes.
Ooh!
When she touched my face.
Nice, let's see.
Current emotional state, horse.
Feeling pretty good about those buttholes you guys got over there.
Ooh.
What?
Thinking
What?
about Ant-Man.
What?
What?
Thinking about Ant-Man.
Yep.
As Persephone, you feel your magic begin to, almost like as you feel that warmth entering you, there's this sort of return as you try to, it's a way that seems similar to what she's trying to do. You reach into her, and her eyes widen a bit, and you immediately catch on to a sensation, a feeling. She is excited, as if a child was just given a present on a holiday, as if something just simply landed into her lap and it was just what she wanted.
I'm going to take that down. I'm going to absorb that.
As I understand the humans starting their construction, you weren't too fond of it.
It is against the way of the Zephytune to allow outsiders to enter these lands. It is not my place to say, I'm afraid. But your intentions are true. Come, We will talk as we walk. Just be mindful. You will all be a spectacle.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
sure.
used to that.
That sounds great.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on in. We'd love to have you dinner.
Come
Too
on,
As-
soon.
Mickey. Be good.
It's
Oh,
great, just whispering
stop.
to himself.
Can't whisper to yourself in your ring.
I've never
Hits
No,
everyone.
he just whispered out loud, but to himself.
never noticed.
Yeah, you
how,
know, the sort of looking off to the side and muttering to yourself that Javen likes to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
so many
As-
unproductive statements from Gregory.
As Devora turns around, and you can see the jackals once again getting excited and hopping around, some of them even sort of lingering back as she walks on, the other centaurs following suit, so that these canines may walk among your ranks as well. Some of them getting awful close to Mitty, but they don't seem to be growling or sniffing or being intrusive. They just seem to be walking close, as if keeping an eye on you guys. These little playful, almost happy-looking pups, though you do know they are, wild animals. As she leads you on into this camp where the deeper you go, it seems like the ground goes from this relatively level flatness to the sort of this up and rising again. Although it seems like the centaurs have set up their establishments among them. Where the hills reach their crests, you can see these leaning tents standing among them. And as you walk through, you can see some of the other denizens of this village sort of pulling away and giving you a path. Maybe not even you the path, possibly this higher-ranking centauress walking before you. You can see among them, they look like centaurs that aren't quite armed, although some of them do stand at the ready. You can see some of them have these long, larger than your Clyde, bows strapped to their back, and these long, almost spear-like arrows held in rudimentary quivers. But among them, you do see like some of the humans standing in their midst, and as you walk by, they look to you, seeing you walking among their ranks, and a couple of them actually smile and kind of give you a half wave.
Stephanie's gonna wave back happily at them. I'm so happy you're alive!
And as she's walking, Sephora just continues to speak, mostly to Persephone, but every once in a while she'll give a full turn and gesture to the rest of you, trying to include you on in this conversation, although it seems like some of you are only having muttering words in response.
I actually have a question. Miss Devora, I don't... Should I call you by a specific title? I don't...
You may simply call me Devora. That is fine.
Does the chief also speak common?
Yes, he does so loosely. It is my initiative, actually, to indoctrinate him in the language. It's hard to teach most of the Zephytoon complicated language such as Common. Despite the name, it's full of these strange meanings and, well, it's the groundwork for many other languages, but alas, these centaurs mainly only speak the languages of old, such as Sylvan, and a few of them, well, some of them even know the tongue of giant. But Chief, as great as he is, will certainly try his best to communicate with you.
If it puts him more at ease, I can speak to him in the Fey tongue, as I know of it.
I believe he might find that favorable. She gives you a very soft grin. Again, she's just so pretty. And as she walks, she sort of gives you a general rundown. It was a time when I first became part of the Zephytoon tribe that we found these road workers invading these lands. They built as close as they could to our territory, that which they recognized by our presence. But, alas, even with shows of force, that which the Zephytoon were not against revealing, they did not listen. And we tried peace. We tried peace so hard. But Well, then there came a moment when all that changed. I would be very careful with how you speak to Chief Kogar. The memory is still fresh in his mind. There was an incident months ago in our camp. You are not the first to find us, despite how careful we are with our placement. When we tried, to the best of our efforts, to communicate that we meant no harm, simply warning of our territory to the road workers, an intruder broke into our camp, one who none of the centaurs seemed to notice walking among us. Even I could not see them, despite having eyes that spread far across this land. Tall and slender human that brought with them a beast with terrible claws. It did not kill any of the forces. It did not harm a single soldier among the Zephatoon. No, it came for two in particular. An aged mare who pledged her heart to a young and now aged chief, and the son they beget together. It was their communication. I believed that the Mobians who built this road understood that we do not like them in our lands, and they did not try to speak with us. They instead sent a message that they did not care, and that they had the power to remove those who would resist them, be they women or children. Chief Kogar lost his family that day, and I have done my best to console him, but it still weighs heavily on his heart. So understandably, the efforts of peace have been strained, and Chief Kogar himself seeks only force to remove the road workers from our territory.
Does this person sound familiar to any of us? Person with a beast at its side?
Sharp claws.
What? I mean, off the top of your head? Off the top of God's head in your head? Not really.
Yeah, Blackburn didn't give a description of Vega or Flynn beyond just their names, right?
It was insinuated that Vega and Flynn were killed.
Yeah, I know.
Vega.
Vega.
I just didn't know if they, would have fit the description or not.
Yeah, I mean, you heard us the Dragonborn. Dragonborn do have claws, but hard to say.
And
Oh yeah.
And you guys weren't able to find this human? You couldn't track him?
All we found were hooves and claws upon the ground. I believe they had similar magic to hide themselves, to be unseen or unnoticed. And though it was reported that they saw a person, there was no beast to recount. Only the marks of his arrival, and unfortunately the victims he left behind.
Was this before or after the road was moved a couple times?
The road, it seems, has been moved ever since the Zephatoon have been trying to warn them, but it was what drove Chief Kogar to drop all notion of peace, to abandon the hope of ending this bloodshed. It is when they took up arms and began to attack those who stood upon the earth and tried to claim it as their own. I can't help but believe it may be the work of, whoever is heading this. What word is it that you use? Creation, building, carving, tearing, scarring of the earth.
Hell.
But I will say, though his heart is hardened, I too seek peace. I wish for this bloodshed to end. Look around you, as she motions around to everyone. We have tried, I have tried to find peace. Those workers who, they fear us and run. Look how happy they are. They know that we mean peace now. I've even tried, at least to my best, to teach them the language that you speak to me, elven girl. I'm trying to broker an understanding. And in time, perhaps we can send them back to Brokenridge. Maybe they can speak on our behalf. I have tried, believe me, I have tried.
Wait a second. So
I'm going to look more into that.
You're telling me you're taking these people in the hopes that taking them against their will and treating them kindly will earn them favor with you?
I must say, Chief Kogar does not like the idea of prisoners. At least those unbound. But it's all I can do. He would not accept someone if not taken by a net, or a rope, or a lasso. It's only under my protection that they remain here. Albeit rough, it is the way of the Zephyr. And not all have survived, I'm unfortunate to say. Those who've ever drawn a spade in hand, or brandished something sharp, a stone, by the tradition of the Zephyr. To hold a weapon against a warrior is to present oneself as a warrior and earn, well, one's death in battle.
The way you speak of this Evertune, I feel like people would usually say we and us. Are you originally part of this clan?
I am not. I have long since lost my people. I've wandered for myself for quite some time, but it was during these troubling moments when the Zephyr stood against the road and, well, when I saw these divided people, that I believed I could offer my eyes. I'm one woman, but I've been gifted with magic to see all across this land through my own eyes. Through my friends, as she motions down with her hands, and you can see the tips of her fingers brush along one of the heads of these little jackals hopping along happily with her. I'm not one of them, but the chief has accepted me as his new mate. Though I cannot say I truly feel I resonate with all of their beliefs. So many of them have become such forceful creatures, driven to war. I cannot truly identify with them. I can only hope to sway them. As eventually, walking down this path, these conversations carried between one creature and the other, you find yourselves reaching sort of the height of these many hills. And a path sort of makes itself in the rise along these bumps in the ground, these grassy hills, and you find resting before you at the end of this path a large tent, far larger than any of the others. It looks like it would have to have been sewn together by the hides of, dozens of horses or maybe even deer. And resting within, now rising to a full height, as you guys begin to approach, you see a massive creature. As we'll take you here.
Oh, God.
Oh, hey, it's my centaur art.
It's Aquaman!
It's Carl Drogoff!
I had a feeling.
It's that one guy from Game of Thrones that had that one wife. And he, like, killed everyone or something.
Damn it, Peter. He's a trustworthy guy.
As you guys are all down here along this winding path, and as you walk, you do see the numbers of these centaurs growing. They don't all seem to have weapons on their bodies, have their pikes in hand, but you do see stashes among these leaning tents. It looks like, well, armories at hand. You guys are getting into the thick of it now, and Probably feeling it now, Gregory, realizing, oh, bad time to not have a weapon on you.
Mm-hmm.
But Persephone still leads.
Yeah. No.
Map is fucking trippy.
Yeah. Hills, baby.
Jumping high.
Oh,
Are we not following? Are we following her?
She's
So
leading the way.
fast.
Yeah.
She's
I
so.
just had to make sure Persephone was on her
She's
horse.
so fucking
She is a
fast.
Too fast, too
She is
quick.
a centaur.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm Javen. Oh god, Jill dying. Stop
Wait,
running
I'm
me off.
also on a horse. I'm just too lazy to like pull it out.
Yeah.
Nope.
As you guys approach here, Javen, Devora motions for you to stop in your approach as you see now standing at his full height. Yeah, as the man said, Gregory, well over 15 feet. This massive man. It looks like, God, if he were a human, he'd still probably be pretty tall. But now you see this gargantuan creature standing up on this woolly horse lower body. His head basically would be touching the tip of this leaning tent if he did not step out from within. You see him holding in his hand, it looks like a maul, similar to what you used, although it's longer. Far longer. It almost like as he rested on the ground, the head of it comes up to his waist, almost using it like a scepter of sorts. And as he steps onto his feet, you feel boom, boom, as this man rises to greet you. You see Devora gently lower herself down very gracefully on her front hooves. Oh, Chief Koga, these are, well, the individuals that we spoke of. Those we saw affront your men. They are killers of the Zephytoon, but only so of protection. They seek, well, they seek what I have sought, what we have all sought, and what I hope is not forgotten upon you, great, strong leader. They seek peace, and among them is a messenger, one who speaks the old language. Please, if you would. As this man looks you over, and as your eyes lock, Persephone, you see his gaze is just hazy. His eyes are hanging over bags, far too heavy for a man of his strength and stature. He looks aged, and his beard is trims of white, falling down with this dark brown hair that falls both from his face and around his neck, tied back into a ponytail, down to his shoulders and across this large, almost bear-like mantle. As he lifts up and drops his hammer hard on the ground with a thud. The killers, you say? Very well. Approach, Devora. As Devora pulls herself back onto her feet, gives you a bit of a knowing look, Persephone, before joining him at his side. You can see these jackals who rest comfortably around this area, sort of jump and bound when she approaches. And you see Chief... What?
Seeing this woman approach him, seeing the bags underneath his eyes, saying it seems like he's maybe not sick but tired. It's just a flash of a thought goes through Gregor's mind, and that is enough where the eyes start to light as he maybe senses something and just tries to see for just a second.
Ooh.
Divine sense, as the immediate thought of person sick, affected by something, maybe gray by, but obviously that's an absurd idea, but it's enough to trigger the sense anyways.
Mm-hmm. As his eyes scan over the group, Greg, your eyes begin to flash, and again your senses pull into you, and it's a relief. So many times before in the last few months, you have been assaulted, your magic senses pouring into you and almost damaging your mind. It only took when you had that confident burst of power and confidence that you're able to ward off the effects. But here, you take in everything around you, your senses, the wind blowing, and it's clean. There is no good. There is no light shining down upon the land besides the overcast, the light breaking through the overcast. But there's no evil. There are only these men clattering around, some of them gathering close to watch, the sounds of hushed voices speaking between the crowds, and the the large and looming presence of this massive centaur standing not too far away from you.
Alright. Just us chickens, I suppose.
State your case, outsiders. I will hear you.
Do you speak common?
Yep, it seems kind of rough. His voice is sort of this low growl, like he's grunting out his words. But
His common is not fluent, so I'm going to speak to him in Sylvan.
But God, I'm going to translate for the group.
sure.
Word for word until I say
I'm
otherwise.
gonna whisper into my ring. You can do this, Persephone. I believe in you.
We've come in hopes to see an end to all of this fighting. I know the humans have come onto your land. And from what I have seen, what I believe, I think this land can be shared. And I think all of this fighting is due to a misunderstanding, a great one, and I do not blame either side for taking arms. You are all merely protecting your own.
Misunderstanding. Are you using that word correctly, child? Do you know what a misunderstanding is? It is a mistake. Are you saying the losses we suffered? The pain. As he says that, you can see his forehead suddenly just wrinkle up as he closes his eyes and he grits his teeth. The pain was all due to a mistake.
No, you're correct. I've misspoken. On my way here, I thought I knew what was happening. I understand more. And that is why I do not blame anyone. I think what has happened to you is terrible. But I do not think it is the humans as an entire group that have wished it upon you.
I do not hate humans, child. I hate those who would come onto this land, a land we took an oath to protect, and the things that lie within it. I hate those who would not heed our warnings, our presence, and instead choose to take, as Mobians have taken time and time again.
The humans only seek to travel between their two settlements as quickly as possible. They are not like you and the other centaurs who can traverse the hills effortlessly, nor were they graced with wings like birds to fly over them. To them, building a road is the best way. Their lives are short. They don't want to spend most of it traveling. And I'm hoping, well, before understanding all that you've been through, I thought perhaps working with the humans, you can show them how to cross these lands in a respectful manner, in a way that does not destroy these hills, in a way that works with them, so that they can cross peacefully and so that you guys can live among them as they live among you.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Ah! Oh god, where is the thing?
You see his eyes somewhat lost in a moment as he's looking at you, as if he's not really truly looking at you, maybe looking through you for a moment. They blink, shakes his head for a moment. There will always be another road. another town, another village, another settlement. If we allow them to take this land, to make it theirs, they will take more, and they will take more and more and more. Their roads have pressed our people, not only Zephatoon, but the others, into a corner. It will never end, and we will have failed our oath. They will find what we have been protecting for so many years. And we will die without honor. I have lost so much already. I will keep my honor.
Could you please tell me what this oath is? I wish to only understand the entire situation. I don't want to speak ignorantly.
It is an oath of protection, to hide what we guard away from the prying minds such as yourself. You do not deserve to know. Well, if I may speak, Chief, this might be exactly what we need. As Devora sort of interrupts him, and you see the Chief's head immediately swerve towards her, his brow just furrowing for a moment, and then just softening the moment he looks at her. Fine. My people, the Zephatoon, earned their names from those who protected us in times long past, when the mountains were many and the plains were still rolling, covered in rocks and hills and war. When scales took to sky and fire rained upon the land, it was the kings of the mountains who took us under their guidance, under their protection. The storm giants were our allies. And after their passing, after their death, they left us nothing but a promise that we would continue to protect these lands as they protected us, leaving behind a moat, a word, a single set of words that we will guard. If humans find it, they will sully it. You will sully it. But, Chief, if I may, as Devora sort of steps forward, and again, every time she speaks, Kogar turns to her like he's about to just yell at her or like bark something. As this large and intimidating man just seems like he's on the fringe of anger, but the moment his eyes fall on her, fine. You are Sia.
Can I insight check this interaction between them? It seems it could either be love or it could be magic, and I don't like that.
Sure, give me an insight check.
Want to do that, considering if it is magic, that's my specialty.
Sure, give me both insight checks.
I'm just enamored with him because he's so tall.
Oh, I could grab you.
I could totally do it.
Yep. You do see upon his expression legitimate anger. You see he is a chief, he is powerful, and you don't quite understand, maybe you don't know the actual hierarchy among the Zephatoon. Maybe the mate is equal in terms of strength, reputation, and power as the chief is. But the way he looks at her at first, it is sort of kind of throws you off guard, but then again, sort of as she says, in these times when he has been hardened, when he has been stoic and stone-like against, well, people like you. It is Devora who has softened him. This gentle hand of peace. As you even see her reach out and put a hand against his large, furry horse side, and just this wash of relaxation falls over him. Fine.
She is simply keeping her Gregory at bay.
I mean, they
As
are
I said
lovers.
before, I am gifted with magic. Not just in power, but in knowledge. The giants, as old and as archaic as they were, owned such magic, and they made it their own. They are words of great power that when spoken, when touched, when attuned to, well, they can offer incredible experiences, perform supernatural feats. They can even make people such as yourselves as great and as mighty as they. These words they speak of, though I have never seen them myself, for I am but an outsider, they reside in a shrine, locked away in a stone, one that the Zephatoon guard. But I do know that these runes, these words, they are just that. They can be stripped, they can be changed, they can be moved. The Zephatoon are forbidden from approaching the shrine. It is part of their oath. As she looks back to Kogar, and he just silently nods at her before turning his eyes back to the rest of you. It is for both their and its protection. But I do know a way. If it at all possible, my chief, I know you cannot leave these lands unguarded as long as those runes remain, as long as those words remain. But if we find a way to move them, an object to hold them, well then you will have what you need to protect in your hands, and you need not stay in these plains. You can find homes elsewhere. We can find homes elsewhere. Places away from the bloodshed. Away from roads.
Someplace safer.
Indeed. I know it may go against tradition, my chief, but is this the only way I can see towards peace? It's the only thing I can think of that may save your people. I do not wish to see you fall alone, as I once was. As the chief reaches up and sort of presses the bridge of his nose with his mighty fingers, and you see again this wash of exhaustion. Once sort of relaxed and calm, he looks away and his face just drops and grows heavy. It risks breaking the oaths we take, but looks up to you, Persephone. Devora speaks on your behalf. She says you are of true heart. But are you brave, young elf?
Yes. I've come here despite all of the concern, all of the worry of the bloodshed. I'd like to think I am brave, even though I am afraid. But I will do this.
I see. Unfortunately, I do not have her gifts. I cannot see your heart. As he catches onto his hammer and begins to walk forward. As he towers over you, Persephone, looking down.
Yeah, calm down, Case. Calm down, cowboy. I just started telling it to Greg. You see, like, the whites of, or the pupils of Javen's eyes just look back at.
Yeah, you can notice that although large man approaches in purse, as tries to stride up behind her to get close to her.
Fuck you, Greg. Persephone just gets closer.
His eyes are not on the chief.
Oh yeah, I see that horse body. Oh yeah.
As this man raises up his hammer, takes it in a second hand, reels it back, and swings down at you, Persephone. What do you do?
I'm not moving! I'm scared shitless, I'm not
What
moving!
are the rest of you doing?
Ah, fuck, I intervened. God damn it. I
Yeah.
can't do that. I can't, no. Javen in the right mind and consciousness cannot allow that to pass.
Javen's, if Persephone
Nope.
can see Javen out the corner of her eye, she's just gonna hold a hand up and stop him. And you can see it shaking.
I would kick the shit out of Nero to charge in to get myself in between that hammer and purse.
Oh god, that's gonna be so awkward because Javen also has to cross over to Persephone and then we just run in. Oh no.
Actually, can I like just gift of guardian stop Javen? Because I can grapple.
Everyone roll me a straight dex check.
Oh god, here we
Oh, I should
go.
go to that.
Damn it, purse!
Ooh. Ooh. Phenomena. Yeah, as everyone reacts to the situation, Gregory, you are basically one of the first ones to react. You see Persephone beginning to move as this man's hammer comes swinging towards her. What do you do?
I just charge Nero forth as I kick his sides, and as the hammer comes around, I just clench my teeth and my fists as I put my arms up to just take the blow, as I don't have any weapon or any way to stop him, but I'm not gonna let him fucking club the shit out of.
Ooh.
Damn it, purse!
As you see, as he's swinging the hammer down, suddenly, Gregory, you charge force, forcing yourself between Persephone and Javen as his eyes turn towards you, and immediately, you feel this hammer crash down into your arms. As let's see how much damage you take. Whew. As you take 15 bludgeoning damage as this massive weight crashes down into your arms, and he pulls the hammer back. You can feel as he swings, Greg, afterwards, the air around you just seems to explode as both your hair, Persephone, and the trinkets bobbling in your hair, Javen. This gust blows over the land.
No, hell, purse!
You...
As I start looking around and start to look over at Luna on the other side of purse and just give her a look.
Javen trips over the horse.
Old. He's fine.
As Persephone, as everyone else is starting to act, what do you do? As you see Gregory take this blow and this man turns toward him, look of frustration on his face.
I've got everything under control. Just calm down. Take some steps back.
Ain't no reason for him to swing at you with the fucking mallet, purse.
I believe I would have been fine.
I ain't fine. It hurt like fucking hell.
You weren't supposed to get in the way, Timberson. More than
damn,
it
she
was
got
a
me
test
there.
of her bravery. To see if she could stand before that hammer and not move. And I wager she would have passed had you not interfered.
So it stands to test Gregory's bravery.
As he's looking
To take
right
a
at
blow
you.
for his friend.
I just look up at his eyes. Look, if you fucking hurt her, I will kill you.
I do not tell him this. I do not translate
Say it in
that.
common.
I do not translate that. I hope he doesn't know enough.
He seems to know quite a bit.
I know.
Yeah, same. Like, I know what you were trying to do there, but I can't do that on a good conscience. See you, attack one of my friends. Can't let you do that. Sorry, Persephone.
As he waits and watches you, Gregory. You see it take the
Staring
hammer,
daggers into his eyes.
drops the hammer down to his side, back to like a scepter stance. Drew arms against you, human. And you have every right to strike me back. But you do not. You do not draw a blade hidden in your clothing. You do not throw that tiny paw of yours at my face. You stand as a shield to your people.
I believe in what Purse is saying. She came out here thinking y'all wanted peace. That y'all could be saved. It's one day of another. You ain't staying here. You say that humans taking things. That's the way of the world. We growing. We don't let people stand in our way of that. Our families grow because we look for better things. And you know you ain't standing in the way of that. But I do believe in Purse. If she can get y'all to move, so be it. But I ain't letting her sacrifice nothing to get that to happen.
Roll me 2d100s.
Ba-ba-ba-bum.
I try, and I try. But I cannot help but feel hatred for your kind, and for what they've done. But your words. I do not swing again. They are true. As he thunderously steps around and walks back to the tent. You will find shy a day travel on horses' hooves, on the very edge of the forest that touches the first mountain. A broken shrine, a temple far larger than you creatures, reduced to nothing but stone. Within, surrounded by wind and tempest, you will find the Bloodstone. As those are his parting words to you, as he turns over to Devora.
Right, so like, are we bringing it back, or like...
You know your magic. If this succeeds, we will leave. We will take our protection and we will give this land to humans. But I need your eyes on them, my seer. As a large hand reaches out suddenly towards her before stopping and gently sort of cupping underneath her chin. I cannot trust them, and so I leave trust to you.
Is he saying all this in common?
He's saying it in Sylvan as his words sort of fall away. But Persephone is translating for you guys.
Into my ring.
Statuesque. Just letting things play out.
How long has it been since we left?
Since you left the little camp?
Oakwell.
Oh, Oakwell, it has been at least now 5 days.
We're running out of time.
It is a day's travel to get to this bloodstone, and we are to pull its magic and bring it back to you. Is that my understanding?
Yes. I've never done such a thing before, but it is possible.
This
It would just take some
oath
time.
is just to protect the words, or is it specifically to keep the words out of others' grasp?
The Zephatoon have guarded these words of power for quite some time. It is, they believe that if it falls into the wrong hands, terrible things may be done with them. As you see Chief Kogar now sort of gathering some, him dismounting, putting his hammer down, and sort of unstrapping one of the leather belts upon his armor. This looks like a strangely glistening well-made breastplate, although he seems to be taking it off now, as seems to be trying to find some rest. But he speaks out from within in a deep and thunderous voice. Many have tried, long before my time. Men and monsters alike. They seek this rune. They seek what it offers them. We keep it out of their hands. Simple enough.
Do you believe you have something that can hold that magic?
As Devora looks back at the chief, you see the chief going through his supplies. You see piles. It looks like of strangely natural objects. You see like one of them a bit disheartening. It looks like the skull of some animal. Others looks like chopped like pieces of wood. Some of them just dark earth. And some of them even glinting and gleaming. Until he pulls out one of them. This very coarse-looking ore, a large chunk of black hard rock with this gleaming red ruby color inside. His hand, it looks so small, but as he returns and hands it to Devora, you see in her normally human-sized arms, it's almost like, it looks like the size of what you consider to be like a softball, but it looks like a big fat ruby. On treasure of the lands. Will this suffice, my seer? Yes, this will do just fine. If you excuse me, to appease you, my chief, and to prove trust, I will bring 2 of our men, 2 of the strongest warriors we have along with us, as well as my friends here, as she motions over to the jackals, who, every time her hand points over to them, you see them hopping up and down excitedly. My eyes will always be on them, but I assure you, they can be trusted. Their hearts are true.
I whisper into the ring, should we probably tell them about the possible other people that might be coming?
I was planning on it.
I'm worried about angering them even further, but I don't want them to be caught unawares.
You don't know what I said, Persephone. I didn't link you.
Oh, god damn it, that's right. Fuck.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah. Jaden knows.
And Purse hasn't been leaked to Luna, so you don't know anything's been going on, Luna.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Purse been translating, so you haven't got shit.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was just translating out loud. Oh well.
She didn't say she was whispering into the ring.
Yeah, I wasn't whispering all of it into the ring.
Well, no one stops me.
Yep. If you're just straight up approaching them, yep, your steps making audible sound. You can see some of the jackals turn and sort of tilt their heads looking at you as Devora, talking to some of the other centaurs, turns her head and her eyes kind of widen for a moment. And then, hearing your steps, the chief veers his head around to look at you. And everything sort of falls silent for a moment. It appears this one has one more question, my chief. If she would stay put, as she motions for you to sort of stay where you are. You could hear her hooves sort of clopping underneath her feet as she turns to face you, and she motions for some of her friends to get out of the way.
Samantha, what are you doing?
I just take one final step.
Samantha!
When she says to stay put. So, we have come to broker peace and find a way for this to end amicably, and it seems that we have done that. That is fine. But while we work here, well, there are those who assume that we will fail, those who cannot afford for us to fail, and will put things into motion elsewhere. I know what it is like to have to lead people, so I will, well, let you know that in 2 days' time, word will go out to adventurers like ourselves and those who, well, kill with much less impunity, or with much more impunity, rather. I would, if you truly plan on leaving these lands with our successful return of this bloodstone and its words of power, it would not break your oath to keep your family, as she just gestures to the entirety of the space they're standing in, to keep them at home, so you do not lose anyone trying to defend a road that, in just a few days' time, will no longer be of your concern.
As Chief Kogar, as you're talking, turns to face you, looking you over. And yeah, you can definitely see those bags under his eyes, his gaze sort of hazy, looking you up and down. A leader. They will come, but they will find nothing. We are the wind. You found us this day through mercy, through chance, through an opportunity granted to you by that one. As she motions over, generally towards Persephone, but also at Javen.
Why?
They will find nothing.
Good. And something I would bear in mind, though it may not be your problem, or the one after you, or the one after you. I have watched and learned things over a very long time, Chief Kogar. A very, very long time. And I would give you a single piece of advice. If your family is to survive and propagate, they have to be willing to change. Civilization, whether it be human, elven, or dwarven, or whomsoever, will continue to spread. And, well, I do not know what lies in the oceans, but I do know it is not centaurs.
As you say, at least you say the word family, you see his brow immediately furrow, and again he closes his eyes, and you can see him physically just gritting his teeth and grinding them as he seems to shake a thought out of his head. A very painful one. I know this, but we are people of tradition. We abide by the old ways. They have lasted. They are like a storm. It fades in time, but always returns. In different forms, but still a storm nonetheless. We will simply move. That is all. You may be a leader. He turns around and goes walking back towards the tent. But you are no chief. As Devora looks between you two for a moment. I would not advise stepping closer like that. If you weren't under protection, well, Chief Kogar would likely take your head.
What time is it, God?
It's about noon now. You guys traveled for about an hour from where you reached that edge, and then now once you reach the center of the village, after some conversating, you, basically it seems like it's just the middle of the day now. You guys traveled from about 5 hours since the early morning, so at 11, so yeah, about noon now.
Should we rest around the camp before heading off to the temple? They look
Oh.
around to the rest of the group.
Probably
I
get
think we
going.
should get going. Time is of the essence.
It seems so. Oh. As you see, Devora seems to be contemplating that last warning about the approaching, well, soon to become approaching violent creatures to come as she puts a hand over her mouth and looks down at her pets. But after some time, gathering yourselves, Gregory sort of nursing your wounds, Devora speaks with some of the Zephyrtoon. Some of them go talk to Chief Kogar along with Devora. And then she returns with this long scrawling of what looks like leather hide that's stained white. And you can see this very rough depiction of what looks like land masses, hills and mountains and grasses, and even patches of trees where they reside. And she has something of a map. I will have to destroy this soon, but it seems our path will take us to... Oh, gosh. The first mountain so close to these cities of Broken Ridge, as she will show you on the map where you will be taking her. Let's see. 1 second. As you guys are currently here. As you see marked down, and it looks like Dwarven script. It's a name you can kind of maybe try to pronounce, but it has no meaning to those who can read the Dwarven language. It simply seems like two rough characters brought together. Blodhelig.
I can read this.
Yes, it seems like distance-wise, it's less than half a day's travel on your horseback. It would be probably longer, but when you're traveling with Clyde, such things take much less time. He's able to navigate the very narrow passageways between hills and over valleys. He can almost anticipate where streams may cross through these hills and avoid them expertly. Yes, I have no trouble crossing over these areas.
As everyone's gearing up to head out, I want to try to speak with Kogar briefly on my own without jackals. Try, keyword.
Yeah, jackals still remain. You see that Devor took some, but there's still plenty hopping around, and as you approach, they sort of stop, and you can hear them yipping to themselves, and it catches Kogar's attention as he sees you approach, and immediately starts thundering on over. You can see him, as he approaches, walking closer, taking his hammer in hand and sliding it down.
Forgive me. What you speak about your oath and these words, I need to ask, just trying to think ahead and be precautious, is there any consequence to you if these words were to be destroyed?
We will have failed our oath. We are to protect them. If we destroy them, though they may no longer require our aid, we will allow those words of wisdom to be lost forever. It is the last promise we made to our ancestors. The last words to Strolnemaus.
Understood. I'll do everything in my power to bring them back to you. Thank you. And I head off.
Girl.
I stop.
Had your friend, your father,
No.
not shielded yourself,
No, that's right.
what would you have done?
Died.
If you had intended to swing that hammer into me, I imagine I would have gone flying off my horse. That was the risk I was willing to take. For I know everything that you are doing for your tribe, and everything that your tribesmen have done for you is to ensure that you all keep each other safe. You feel the humans have threatened you. I do not feel it is I that need to show my power, but try to gain trust. If it means I am to be wounded, I felt that was necessary.
As he looks you over, Persephone, and for a moment, with your relatively high passive insight, you notice his gaze starting to focus ever so slightly as he looks upon you. And then immediately he blinks and his brow furrows and he puts a hand to the side of his head. Sorry. My apologies. You remind me of Mira. As he takes his hammer and swings it, puts it back onto his shoulder, and as he does, this gust of wind blows across the plain and almost billows you off your feet for a moment, but then he turns. Make haste, elf. You have the weight of many lives on your shoulder.
Yes, I do. I'm just gonna scurry off.
Mm-hmm. And as you guys are gathering your things and making your way on the road, the last thing they sort of pick up on is you can see with newfound information, you hear Chief Kogar barking at the other centaurs. And you see some of them looking concerned, confused, and then going for arms. And Persephone, with the sound of his voice thunderous and loud and speaking in Sylvan, you make out sort of the basics of what he's telling them. That in time, there will be others. Those who will draw arms. They will not find us, but those who prove far more mischievous as cowardly tactics, as seeking out through magic to find them. They will be armed, they will be ready. And if peace will not work, war will end this. As you guys set off on the road.
Yeah, on the way in and on the way out, though, I want to be taking looks at the people that were taken.
Sure.
Give me a little bit more. Give me a little bit more pieces.
Sure.
Some deets.
Give me some insight. Are you talking to him or are you just seeing him?
No, unless for some reason we get stopped and like we're waiting to get equipped and shit, and some of them approach me or something. They're in talking range. I'm not going to break out into the middle of their camp to go try to find some random person to talk to.
Sure. Yeah, they don't seem to pay you much mind. You do see some people getting particularly close, though you do see occasionally one of the dark-skinned centaurs will like motion them away, as it seems like, well, most of the time you've spent around the leader of their village. Seems like they're only allowed to approach so far. But what you notice, it's weird, Gregory. These men you've seen wrapped up in ropes and nets, and even now you can see their clothing still seems to be torn. They've been through scuffles. Although they have no wounds on their body, they seem happy to be here. Some of them look like they're actually working along with the centaurs, gathering wood. Some of them seem like they're gathering pelts and meats, like living among them as a part of them. You can hear them speaking this rough language that they occasionally break and curse under their breath, as if they're trying to speak a language they don't know. And the ones that actually do sort of give you their eye or attention, they just give you like a genuine smile. It's almost like you're back in Oakwell meeting acquaintances.
Alright. Gregory's just scowling away.
How dare these people be
How dare they
brave?
be happy?
Mm-hmm.
Big ol' scowl.
Yes, I'm assuming you guys are sitting off.
Aye.
All right. You guys set off on your horses with Devora, 2 centaurs, relatively strapping young ones that carry pikes upon their backs. You see they've actually brought some arrows and bows with them this time. And following along are about 6 or so jackals. These hopping dogs that stay close to you, and they don't bark, they don't really yip except to one another, but they seem pretty excited to be following you guys around.
I whisper into the ring, when do you guys think it's safe to, take your weapons out?
Persephone galloping along next to Devora very happily and unawares.
You
I'm
could
gonna
probably
walk
just
up to
ask
the
her.
2 centaurs. I'm gonna start talking to them and trying to communicate with them that I'm Clyde, and I want to know what their name is.
Persephone can translate for you, Clyde. It's okay.
No. I'm connecting with them.
Okay.
I'll go, Clyde. Clyde.
Bah. As he points at you. Bola. And the one points at him. Bola. And you can sort of hear under their breaths, Persephone, the words are speaking. It's cat.
Oh, you're Bola.
Bola.
No, Clyde.
calling you a cat.
But I am a no, I'm Clyde. I mean, I am a cat, but I'm Clyde.
As you see every once in a while, you kind of notice that when they were inspecting you, Clyde, but this time they're really sort of paying attention. Now that their arms aren't being drawn against you, one of them will sort of like pull at the collar of your armor to look down your shirt. Other one sort of pulls back one of your sleeves, trying to see. Looks like they're looking for something. And you're hearing them muttering between themselves, Persephone, like, what up? What up? Tinta. They're like, basically a rough Sylvan equivalent of where one begins and where one ends. And doesn't make sense until you start piecing it together. They're trying to look for where the cat begins and the man ends, or which one starts. And all they see is just cat.
I'm just grinning. This is a hoot. I'm just gonna let it happen.
Hey, when can we have our weapons back?
And then Persephone's eyes just go wide.
As Devor sort of stops in her tracks and looks over. Oh, that's right. You were mighty warriors. We're going... I can't imagine this is going to be a simple task. If you need to be armed, please do so. But, well, keep in mind, she motions over to the centaurs who don't seem to be heeding her words. They do look up at her with almost this look of admiration in their eyes, but they go back to prodding at Clyde. They may be less curious and more apprehensive when you are armed.
We could probably take arms when we get there.
But what
Before
if
we
we
go
get,
in.
what if we find something on the road, Persephone?
Magic?
Not everybody knows magic. I mean, what's Gregory gonna do?
Holy shield?
If we find something on the road, it can equip very quickly. But I guess it's best to keep the centaurs lactated for now.
Quickly, I got
Yeah.
163 arrows. Quickly.
You could pick up a quiver.
But what if it's not the right quiver, Luna?
Then
Don't-
deal.
Why can't I hear you when you're talking into your ring?
Because I didn't bond with you.
Why?
Because I didn't want to.
Oh, that's fine. Best friends have secrets. It's fine. It's what best friends do.
I spin the rig, go, as soon as we pull out our weapons and things, they're gonna know we were lying from the very fucking start, so be ready for
We did. Oh, that's true.
Right. I think we'll be fine. If something happens, they'll understand if we pull out weapons, because they'll know it's not against. At the very least, they'll be more preoccupied about what's trying to actively kill them than us pulling out weapons.
Devora, tell me about your tribe. Before you go into the game.
As she seems relatively amused. You see this really soft and now wide smile spreading across her face as people start talking amongst themselves. Some words fall silent to her ears, but just hearing this casual conversation bouncing around, and then yours, Persephone, she looks at you and then her face sort of drops. In truth, Persephone, I had no tribe. I was born alone. I woke up in these lands without anyone. I never met my people. I was only born with gifts and a desire to use them for good. And it was with these people that I found purpose. I don't know if you understand what it's like to be without a family. Although it seems you have one now. I suppose we're kindred spirits in that regard. And we would do anything to protect them.
God.
I'm gonna
Yes?
check that.
Wait, was it in common? Could we hear that, or was it all in
Yeah,
Sylvan?
she's speaking in common. Unless you're speaking in Sylvan.
No, yeah, it's in common.
Oh, you can do the insight check for
Oh, then I'm insight checking it.
Yeah.
NPC speak.
Oh no, it's
Must
just
be lying.
everybody has a maw and a paw.
It's one of those weird situations of like, as a player, I don't care what the inside thing is gonna say. Which is weird and metagamey bullshit for me, but
You're the opposite of insight checking.
It's a strange story indeed to be born alone in the plains, no family, an orphan. Like, these things seem like they're all so close together. You know, these centaurs, they're bonded. It would be weird to have one all by itself, but as you're looking at her expression, the softness of her face, the seeing this beautiful expression, this beautiful woman fall down to disarray, sounds like she's telling the truth.
I also love the fact that you're a paladin. So if you really wanted to, you could get the fucking truth.
oh
You
yeah,
just refuse to. I love it. Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking on what the chief left me with for a few moments, as I'm just kind of like leaving out and just kind of glazing over. And it's like, all right, it seems like we've got a solution. I don't have to start killing people. Fine. But at the same time, all of this for an oath? All of this for this bloodstone? And then my mind just dedicates itself to trying to see, wait a second, is this in my little black book?
It is
Mind
not.
Palace.
Neat.
Yep. With you, Samantha, there are things you know. Things from your time and then on after. There are things far before that that might pique your interest, but there was a time, an ancient time, when before even mankind walked the earth, there were giants and there were dragons, the creatures known as the Titanborns, and they reigned and ruled and warred for quite some time. All the machinations among them sort of, strangely enough, reside parallel, if not above, I guess, your previous level. They're older, they are longer set, and as a result, they are deeper buried.
Knowing that, but not what this is, but knowing that it is important enough for them to take this oath that is supposed to be words of power, Samantha sort of fixates on that last word. And even though she's been eating jerky and drinking wine, she can't help but feel hungry.
Mm. Jerky and wine.
Classic combination.
The sophisticated hillbilly.
Hey, there aren't good cheeses.
She's
in Oakwell. What do you want
adjusted
from
to
me?
Oakwellian life. That's
There aren't good
good.
cheeses. They don't have
Played
cows.
Skyrim? There's fucking cheese everywhere.
No, it's bad cheese. Have you seen the Skyrim cheese? It's bad.
Goofy.
Do you want
But
to
yeah.
eat that?
You guys continue to travel. As you guys get on for like the first hour or so, you can feel your horses sort of rock to and fro as a breeze will pour over you. Sort of calm and refreshing compared to the bitter cold you suffered months before. It's like a nice summer breeze, and then after a little while longer, becomes windier as it's almost like you're approaching a valley, but you're still in these hills, and every time you rise to the top, you're greeted with this push that almost, for some of you, say for like Gregory on his massive heavy horse, almost challenged just trying to approach this area. It seems like everything's just getting windier. The sky is still cast with clouds, with the sunlight now sort of fading between them as you get closer to the mountains. After some time, for you guys, only about 4 hours or so, getting later in the afternoon, you end up reaching the edge of this forest, returning again to a tree line, and Clyde, oh god, these trees are they start off so short, but they get thick and they get tall.
Ooh.
And among them, begin to walk among the forest, just sort of on the very edge. You know that between the mountains, the range of the teeth, there are bridges and constructs that allow people to walk from one part of Broken Ridge to the other. But down here, close to the earth, there isn't really much regulation or guarding. This belongs to nature, not to nobles. And here you begin to notice things as you walk through the woods. Large chunks of stone. One of them being the first, looks like a large slab, cut out like a puzzle piece of sorts of, well, it looks like brickwork with mortar between, but the bricks are massive. They're about the size of you as a person. And they sort of few, like just a random chunk of of architecture laying on the ground, and then as you get deeper into the forest, more pieces begin to appear. Massive bricks, some of them look like even parts of a spire, but God, if this was the tip, how big was the rest of it? And eventually, with the wind still billowing through these trees, this almost like a storm is rolling through this area, you come to an interesting sight. A break in the forest, and before you, a massive, remains of what would have been a massive structure. It looks like it would have been a fort, but maybe something else. It doesn't look like it's meant to sustain damage, it's just simply made of stone. Simple mortar, and the walls and ceilings have been completely gone. It's like if there was a building here, and then some powerful force, like a hurricane or a great maelstrom, rolled over, and now all that remains is basically the ground floor. These ruins of a giant temple. As you approach, Devora and her centaurs close behind, the wind billowing and blowing all around you. Devora looks on, sort of looking past you, up at the buildings, up at the architecture. Oh, this is it. Blood, holy. The shrine of their kind. Well hidden in these trees, I must say. And then you hear from within, depths inside these ruins, a pulse. As the winds continue to buffet and billow around you. A deep voice calling out, without a body, without a face, in a language that I don't think... Anyone speak giant? Ooh,
I didn't take it because you told me they were all dead.
I got dwarf.
I got dwarf.
That's all you... That's all you hear.
Oh, God, Peter.
Oh no, Javen.
That's all you hear. Roiling out from this temple is a single deep word. Morcar. And the winds immediately pick up. As things begin to move around, you see pieces of stone amidst this tempest spreading from this area begin to lift and pull themselves around.
I don't think that means welcome.
As that is where we'll end tonight's session.
Aw, snap-a-dap.
Buckle up, buckaroos. There will be more D&D on this channel. We still have our games going forward. All three seem to be on regular schedule, so there'll be more to look forward to, along with this, hopefully, it sounds pretty epic fight against giants? But you gotta be here to find out. Next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, you can see what culminates here, and if we can pull the power out of a stone, transfer it to a ruby, and save the day for the centaurs, and hopefully still get paid. So I certainly hope to see you again for more Song of Rapture, but there are also 2 other games before next Thursday. You have the wonderful level 20 adventure that... Are we perhaps pausing because...
Oh, yeah.
Because Peter...
I mean, you guys will probably take up a lot of time with freaking Yoda wanting to commune with their god.
We're probably still gonna have a session. We may just have to go back in time for Peter.
Yes,
Peter. Oh, you guys ain't gonna take that long? I mean, you're gonna be that fast, I mean?
Possibly. You never know.
Well, there's gonna take.
I mean, I am gonna dump all of my legend lore questions on him in person instead of casting the spell, but, you know, depending on how long that takes, and...
We may not get through it all, and then you're gonna be fine, or we'll get through it all, but we'll just have to go back in time a little bit and see what you had to talk about. And hopefully you didn't actually make any decisions or anything that really fucks up the timeline, but who knows? It shouldn't! I don't know what you could do to just destroy the universe, but...
I decided to see the muzzle built by Hephaestus for you.
Jesus.
Ivor, now realizing he's in the lands of the gods, starts his god slaying camp.
Yeah, he lets loose the soul of Mishasa. She gets reincarnated by the power of the gods and takes over Elysium. It's fine.
They team up to invade Elysium.
Yeah, you're like, ha, fools! They've been in Hell Knight all idiots.
Right. From the very start, he was Mishasa.
By killing Mishasa, I can take her energy and combine it with the soul of Laura and form the ultimate powerhouse.
Yeah, Mishasa needed to get into Elysium, but she couldn't do it because she was a devil. But if she was in Soul Stone form,
easy,
easy clap.
And then we kill all the knowledge.
You're a demon and you can't get into Elysium? Just turn yourself into a soul store. Forehead? Like what? So be sure to tune in this Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern for more of The Expanse as we sit down and go to church. So hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully more fun than when I was a kid anyway. And then after that, there's a lot of things going on in Tuesday's game. Kingdoms of the South will be returning next week with perhaps some new faces at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to tune in for that and see what John has in store for us and what all of us wonderful players here at Lionhead Gaming have in store for you with maybe some new characters.
yeah, I'm fucking loving that game.
Good shit, John.
And that's it. That's all I got for you. I hope you have truly enjoyed hanging out with us tonight, and I hope to see you again next time on Sunday at 5, Tuesday at 7:30, and Thursday at 7:30 for more D&D. And without further ado, as always, may your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
But y'all.